The evidence seems to indicate that you're watching Dolly Vision.
Chopping up Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feel so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Tracks on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost soul shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light. Chopping up Dolly Vision's dreaming real. True crime scene blast feels so unreal. YouTube madness like share, subscribe. Tracks on fire, burning the world's fire. Where's the baby missing shadows crawl? People whisper footsteps down the hall. Fingerprints of the dead, cold as stone. He's got the scoop, best around town known. Dolly Vision headlines, King of Peace. Truth unravels, crackling through the heat. Lost souls shouting, echoes in the night. Rock the truth while live on their light.
What is up, YouTube? It is Dolly back in the house again today. I had my microphone muted, but of course, I got the lovely PJ with me.
Hi again.
Hi again, okay? And since we got to repeat ourselves because we had no volume, I need you guys. Well, first, let's tell them what we're talking about. We're talking about Sebastian Rogers tonight. We're talking Bryan Kohberger, Stephan Stearns, Maddie Soto, and maybe some more.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky, okay? If you're absolutely lucky. So there's almost 400 people in the room. We're going to need you to leave your DNA. Where, PJ?
On the like button.
On the damn like button, people all over it. Smear your DNA.
Don't lick it.
Don't lick it.
That's not sanitary.
It's not sanitary. You heard PJ. Do not lick. Whatever you do, do not lick the like button. But definitely leave your DNA on it. Okay? Leave your DNA on that like button. And of course, if you're brand new out there and this is your first time tuning in, or you haven't subbed up yet, go ahead, sub up, ring that bell for notifications, and feel free, of course, to share our faces on any social media platform you choose. Okay? So what case do you want to kick into first, PJ? It's been a couple days since we've been here live with the people. We uploaded some videos. Thank you for all you guys that have watched the videos. We posted one on Sebastian, and we posted one on Megan Boswell. If you didn't watch it,
shame on you.
Shame on you. And go back and watch it. That way I know to post more videos when we're not live. That way you get more content from Dolly Vision. Okay? What case do you want to jump into first?
Bryan Kohberger.
Bryan Kohberger, the IDAHO 4. I was hoping you would say that. Now, Is Bryan Kohberger guilty? Is he guilty, PJ? Now, listen, a lot of people say that Bryan Kohberger has been framed. Now, not me. I don't say that.
I don't say that either.
I don't say it. I think Kohberger is 100% guilty. Okay, guilty. He has those Ted Bundy eyes. And listen, the eyes do not lie. Okay,
They're the window to the soul.
There you go, PJ.
I knew you were going to say that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
You were going to say it.
Okay, but really the only thing solid they have on Bryan Kohberger is this touch DNA that was on the knife sheath, right? So what did you want to talk about in this case? There's some new
evidence that it claims there's 2 other male DNA samples somewhere located on this crime scene, which we don't know where the crime scene is anymore because it's been destroyed.
Tore down by the college. They tore this house down in the IDAHO 4 case. And of course, rest in.
Hello, PJ and Dolly Jeezy.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us. You notice it reads out the super chats tonight. So you will be able to see it pop up on the screen and hear it once I share this.
It's not even nighttime. It's 3 o'clock.
Did I say nighttime?
You've been saying nighttime.
For some reason, it feels like nighttime. I'm usually only on at nighttime.
Yeah.
And it's only 3 o'clock. Damn, it's kind of early for Dolly.
It's very early.
It's very early. So anyway, you know, in that crime scene, do you remember there was a footprint that sat outside of Dylan's door and they could never find a shoe that matched
it was rumored that it was Dylan's footprint.
It couldn't have been Dylan's footprint
that's
because
what the rumor was.
This was a footprint that didn't match Bryan Kohberger's footprint size, and it was in some type of bodily fluid because when they went in and sprayed luminol, they were able to see the footprint. And we still don't know who that footprint belonged to. And you got to remember that Dylan, in this case, actually called up her friends and stuff to come to the house before the police were called.
May have not been, or may not, it may have been born a male.
And I don't know. That's
another thing that's going on right now. It's weird. This whole case is like actually weird.
People are actually saying Dylan is a man.
Yes.
She looked like a man.
I never seen her. Oh, you have. She don't look like a man.
I know she don't look like a man. I'm just saying that. That's that lady from Saturday Night Live. It looked like a man.
Oh. I knew that.
Anybody? What's that lady's name on Saturday Night Live?
I'm bad at names.
Miss Chu or Chow or whatever the hell her name was on Saturday Night. It looked like a man. So I don't think she's a man.
Let me do it.
I don't think it's a man. It was a bunch of girls. She's transgender. I don't believe that.
That's what everybody's saying. I told you.
Everybody's saying she's transgender.
Like
Miss Swan. That's it. Thank you. It's Miss Swan.
The channels that do deep dives into these cases, there's several of them that do different cases that do this one, are saying she is transgender. Not that it really matters.
Well, I did a shallow dive head first into this case. Okay. this whole deep dive thing. I don't like deep water. You can drown. Okay. I stay in the shallows. Okay. Lurking in the shallows.
Okay. That's safer that way.
Safer. With floaties. Okay. Gotta have the floaties.
Sharks in the water?
You never know. The
shallow water is where the sharks live, though.
Well, you know, they only eat during the early morning hours, which I'm not up during. So I'm good. Okay. I'm good. So Dolly's good in the shallows. So, you know, we had people that went into that house that could have contaminated the scene of the crime. Okay. So, and there's people in here right now that believe that Bryan Kohberger is innocent because I've asked people, and some of my viewers believe that Kohberger has been framed, and Dylan and Bethany may be the real culprits of this killing. Ain't that crazy?
That's very crazy.
Kohberger is the Timu Bundy. I would agree with that. Sometimes I think he wanted to get caught, to be honest.
I think he did because he studied it to a T. Like it almost feels like he thought he could get away with it and then maybe he slipped up, or he thought he could get away with it and then he wanted to be like the test dummy of like all dummies to where he was going to be like infamous for that.
Yes, I think he may have wanted the attention. Mm-hmm. And Robin says, PJ, you are beautiful. And she says this on Facebook. She got her little space buns in today. Let me want to touch one.
You can't really see them. The background is terrible for my hair.
Oh, okay. So she has little space buns going on today. So
you still can't see them very good.
You know, we are going to be, well, I know I'm going to be. It depends on your work schedule. we're going to be in Idaho for the Bryan Kohberger trial when it kicks off. Okay. And all these trials are kicking off around the same time.
Mhm.
Bryan Kohberger, Stephan Stearns, and we got CrimeCon to jam up in there all in that same month. So it's going to be a really busy month in September for these cases, right? Which is, pretty much going on the tail end of summer, right at the end of summertime. A lot of these cases are popping off, and we've been waiting a while for the Bryan Kohberger case. Stephan Stearns too. I'm going to be down in Florida, covering some of that case live with you guys. And both of those cases we're going to be talking about here tonight. So do you want to jump over into Nancy's show and let's discuss this new evidence?
She's going to talk about the new evidence of the blood DNA and the glove. And wasn't the glove the one that McDonough found?
Now listen, dude.
That's part of what this is going to be.
Do you really believe? I look at McDonough like, what was the dude? Mark Furman. Okay, he's like the Mark Furman of the Idaho stuff, right? I mean, he is in the Cold Case Foundation. I just ain't never really been a big, huge fan of YouTube police, but he did find a glove. I remember when he found a glove.
Yeah, but Olivia and company found a bottle that looked identical to Gabby's water bottle, and like you said, I don't think that there's gonna actually be true justice for a lot of these cases since they've destroyed the evidence.
I don't trust anything YouTubers find.
I don't either.
Okay, and I'm a YouTuber, a YouTubian to be exact, right? And if I'm a fellow
Utopia,
if I'm from the planet Utopia, and I don't trust it, then there got to be something to it, right? I would say, like, I ain't saying everything's fake, but I would say 90% of people are faking shit up here.
Well,
I mean, that's just my estimate.
I
could be wrong.
don't agree with that because when we were in Tennessee, not last time, but the time before that, we legitimately walked up on that scene that was like, whoa, I didn't even know they had homeless camps like that in random wooded areas.
Yeah,
like
but we didn't find a bloody glove. I mean,
I don't think it was a bloody glove.
When
it was
people
a glove
start finding things directly involved in the case, that was just a homeless encampment. Them bitches are everywhere. I mean, I can go down the street from here and probably find a homeless encampment. So, I mean, when you're finding something directly related to the crime, I start getting a little suspicious of the YouTuber or the credibility of a YouTuber. Now, if it comes from somebody I believe is a trustworthy person.
Jackie said that glove could have come from anywhere. Wasn't it close to the road? It was outside in the snow. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It could have come from anybody.
We got to think about it, though. At some point, Bryan Kohberger, let's just walk through the crime scene, right? He goes upstairs first. He brutally stabs the two girls to death, right? That's where the knife sheath is found under her body, under Maddie's body, right? He goes downstairs. He runs into Ethan and Xana, right? They put up a little bit of fight. That's what Dylan's hearing is the fight between him and Ethan, okay? So then he goes past Dylan while she's froze like this in the hallway. Okay, just froze up in the hallway. And then he walks right out the sliding glass door, but there's no bloody footprints. There's no nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
And it said that Dylan had to do a lineup and she didn't identify Kohberger.
Well, she said all she seen was he had a mask over his face and he had bushy eyebrows.
I mean, I would have known them eyebrows.
You would have known the eyebrows?
They're very distinctive eyebrows.
All right, let's jump into a little bit of this Nancy stuff.
Kohberger to get away with murder? This after two mystery men's blood DNA found at the murder scene.
See,
good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories.
To me, right there, that is going to throw this case off a little bit. Or unless he had a code of where the blood from where did DNA come from two other men? But there was a house full of young girls. It's a party house. Yeah, I mean, there's that possibility.
Gone, so we'll never know.
Yeah, that's true. We'll never know. And I just think that they tore that house down for a reason. They didn't want the jury walking through that house.
Well, no, we know what they tore it down because the college thought that it would be a bad look on their school.
I know.
But that doesn't mean that they shouldn't get justice for these poor innocent victims here. And you're going to lose a lot of verification process. Like, I, as a person, would want to physically see the house and go in the house. I don't know how they're gonna. I mean, I know they got video. It's just so frustrating.
Okay, Jimmy said, I hit the like button for you guys. He was number 322.
Thank you.
We got 637 people in the room.
336.
That means half of you guys did not hit the like button for us. So please take a second, right? And I want you guys to hit that like button. Don't cheat. I'm looking right at you. Look, I'm talking to you. Yes, you. And then once you do it, I want you to shout out in the chat room where you're watching from. But let's get those likes up to a good 600 real fast, right? And if you're super cool, and I mean, listen, you got to be super cool. We want you to share this on your Facebook. But if you ain't super cool, you just a big old lame, don't worry about it. But if you cool as hell, where should they do?
Share it wherever you can.
Share it wherever you can with your granny. Okay, with your granny. Your granny wants to know about Bryan
The
Kohberger.
cash register guy wants to know about it.
The dude at the Zippy Mart down the street from you needs to know.
What the hell is a zippy mark?
You know, one of those little Zippy Marts, like a little quick stop. A
Oh,
little, 7-Eleven.
I've never seen one of those.
Wawa,
A zippy mark?
Exxon gas station, whatever the hell you got in your neighborhood, people. Share this shit. Okay. Anyway, let's jump into it. Blood, unknown DNA. We don't know if it was blood.
Two different males.
Two different males. Okay. But some of them girls were single and young, and they may have been in there getting freaky on the weekends.
What's that got to do with blood?
You can
And
leave,
of male.
men can leave DNA that way.
Yeah, there was several people that came in and out of this house. So, I mean, I'm sure they could dig up anything anywhere, but I mean, the house is gone.
Okay,
so.
we got 394 now.
Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome, Nancy.
Are charged in the quadruple slay of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students. The defense team arguing 2 mystery men's DNA found at the scene, and therefore they argue nothing at the scene incriminates their client, Bryan Kohberger. Whoa, wait a minute.
Whoa!
What about Kohberger's
Hold
DNA
Oh,
on
Wait
the
a
knife
minute.
sheath, the murder weapon, the sheath of the murder weapon under one of the victim's dead bodies?
I was in the house.
Ruh-roh. That said,
Did she just say what? Bro?
Uh-oh. She did a Scooby-Doo.
Did she just go full Scooby Doo?
Ruh-roh.
Uh-oh, Nancy. That might be a lawsuit right there from Scooby Doo Incorporated.
Let me find out she's part dog.
Part dog. She's been hanging out with Snoop Dogg with Martha Stewart.
Dog.
She's pretty hip for
She's
an older
hip,
lady.
for sure.
listen to this.
Bryan Kohberger's attorneys say blood from an unknown man was found on a handrail in the victim's home, and another's DNA was found on a glove outside.
What? Let that man go. That is going to F the case all up.
I don't agree.
Blood was found from another man?
I don't
How does a
agree.
man come in that house bleeding? Either he has a coat. Have they tracked down the person? Why
Probably
don't they
not.
do family genealogy on the two people?
Because your
and find
family
the
has
two
to
people?
participate in that in order for it to
Yeah,
work.
but they did that for Kohberger. Why don't they go in and try to find out?
How
who
do you
these-
know they didn't?
Well, they need to.
Well, if they tried it and their family member of the person that did it didn't freaking sign up for the DNA ancestry tracking like a normal person, I don't suggest anyone do that.
I think this is reasonable doubt.
I don't.
You don't think it's reasonable doubt that two people's blood is in the house?
He bought the weapon. He had the.
They never
sheath.
found a weapon.
It's on his Amazon account.
I know, I do know that. But they didn't never find a weapon. They didn't find none of his bloody footprints. There was no blood in the car. There's no any type of evidence that. How do we know he's not been framed?
If he didn't do it, why wouldn't he plead not guilty?
How do we know the two people that were in the house that bled didn't leave his knife sheath there and they stole it from him and planted it at the crime scene? I don't
His
think that
cell phone
happened.
data was
'Cause
connected
it's cell
to the
phone.
Wi-Fi.
It's just like OJ's lawyer said, circumstantial evidence is going to hang him in this case. His phone connected to the Wi-Fi,
mean, I don't
stuff
think it
like
is.
that.
I honestly don't think he's going to get convicted, honestly, because of the house is gone. If I was an outsider looking into the case and I'm trying to get the whole story and I can't go look at where the stuff
right
took
here, somebody
place,
says Dolly unknown does not mean it's not his. Yes, it does, but because they said unknown
tested
from
it to
2
him.
other males.
Right.
Okay. So that they it's not his blood.
They've tested it with his, first of all. That's
yeah,
all they do.
yeah, it's not his. So that means it belongs to somebody else.
Right. But how many people came in and out of that house? Several. How long does blood live on a surface?
Well, that ain't good then. It ain't good. The crime scene has been contaminated.
The crime scene is gone.
Ann Taylor says this could mean Kohberger is not related to the crime at all. In
At all.
Kohberger's last hearing, Taylor criticized authorities, saying police did not disclose the unidentified blood when obtaining a search warrant for Kohberger's arrest. Taylor argues this should disqualify some evidence collected in that search, as it was not properly authorized.
Okay, let's just kick it off. That's a lie. Number one, that DNA was disclosed over a year ago in the state's filings. Ann Taylor, all you have to do is read the filings like we did. That's right. Over a year ago, the unknown DNA.
Nancy, don't be picking on people. We seen your show that got deleted. Okay, we heard it. Okay, Nancy.
All you had to do was read about it.
All you had to do was do a little
some
research, Nancy. Okay, we just picking our love on Nancy. She's the best. I mean, she drops the ball every now and then.
She's human.
Everybody does. You know, all of us drop the ball. But for all you people, y'all remember that in the Sebastian Rogers case, y'all said that, oh, they're editing it, Dolly. It ain't because it was BS. What happened to that show? What happened to it? Anybody?
Vanished. We got to put a missing person alert on it.
APB out on the missing Nancy interview. Yeah, she took that shit, threw that right in the trash, and was like, she made it like it never happened. Okay, I feel like it's a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was
Did
like,
you see it?
I call it the Sinbad video. It's a Mandela effect.
DNA samples were disclosed. But still, Kohberger's DNA is on the murder weapon sheath under a dead body. I don't know how they're going to get away with that. You know what? Maybe Ann Taylor got a minor degree in magic, so she can make the jury do this. Look here, not there. Isn't that right, Philip?
And CrimeCon said I was controversial.
I know.
She just said Ann Taylor had a degree in magic. Okay? And CrimeCon thinks I'm controversial, right? Nancy's just as controversial as any YouTuber out there.
Dubé, isn't that what you do in court? You try to get the jury to look somewhere else other than at the damning DNA evidence on the sheath of the murder weapon under the victim's dead body?
False. I try to get the jury to look at evidence of real guilt and not some spitball, if you will, of guilt. You have proof that 2 other people's blood was at the scene, and there is a stark difference between blood being present and mere presence. And all that sheath might prove at most is that he or somebody in possession of that sheath was there. It does not prove the commission of a quadruple homicide.
Joining me right now to help me combat Philip Dubé with the truth, investigative reporter Sydney Sumner. Sydney, explain to me this one question. There's a lot of explaining to do, but let's start with a very narrow question. Where is the mystery DNA located at the crime scene? For instance,
that is the $1 million. Good question, Nancy. If there is blood in the area of where the bodies are, that is real damaging.
She said on the handrail and outside in the snow.
In the glove.
Yeah.
Okay. So the handrail's in the house where the bodies are. Okay.
The handrail, where's the handrail? To the stairs to
the
go
stairs.
upstairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's blood on the handrail of an unknown man. Okay. What other unknown man would have been in that house bleeding?
Ethan.
Well, Ethan's known. They would have his DNA on file. So we know it's not Ethan's.
Whatever party guest that was there at that party that day that had a bloody nose or
How
had
do we know there was a party there that day?
Because I mean, it was a party house. They had freaking parties all the time. We saw the police video of the one
That
house
don't mean
party.
they had parties every day, though.
I mean, they had people in and out of the house. Clearly, we saw that.
I don't know. That's
What about the people that came
how
in
do
to
we
help
know
clean
he
up?
didn't have? You got to remember, they saying he committed these crimes in under 6 minutes. How do we know he didn't have a co-defendant? And when he was arrested, what did he say?
Was there anyone else arrested?
Was there anyone else arrested?
Isn't that somebody else said that before?
Yeah, and remember he had that buddy that would go jogging with him at night. He had a couple of different friends too.
Didn't one of the serial killers say that also when they got arrested?
Yes.
Bundy, maybe. Which one was it?
I can't remember right off the top of my head.
But I think that's key. I think he's trying to mimic something. Like he wants to be.
Blood DNA equals he didn't do it alone, in my opinion. Madonna, I'm starting to lean towards that because his statement was, am I the only one arrested? How do we know he didn't have a getaway driver?
Why wouldn't he tell that?
Because he's saying he's innocent.
He's not saying he's innocent. When he came in front of the court, he didn't say a word. And that led the judge to plead not guilty on his behalf. He didn't say a word. So if he's innocent and he's just going to sit there, just be quiet.
But he's
and
not
just
pleading guilty. He didn't say anything. He has the right to remain silent through this.
You're not guilty. Are you going to fucking sit there? You didn't do it. Are you going to just sit there?
No, I'm going to say I'm not guilty. Me, myself. But
I'm
I'm not
gonna
a
say
killer.
I'm not guilty.
I'm not a killer. I mean, I think he's involved. I just don't know if he's involved in it alone.
I think he would tell it. I think anyone in the right
was
mind
it
would tell it,
under
especially if he's
one
facing
of the
firing
victims' dead
squad.
bodies, Sydney?
Absolutely not, Nancy. One DNA sample was taken from a handrail on the stairs in the home, and another was found on a random glove outside. Investigators aren't even sure the glove was ever in the house or worn by someone who was ever in the house.
Okay, hold on just a moment. We've seen the interiors of the home through windows. All the crime scene photos have not been disseminated yet. But we know the victims, the ones that were murdered, there were two
Rogers
girls
was with
living
them.
downstairs that
Lord,
were
that
untouched.
would have been proven
We're up the
hopeless.
stairs. Let's see a shot of the home, please. There are multiple stories to the home. And when you look at it from the back side, you can see it even
Welcome up here.
better.
Welcome, our
There
parents.
was a handrail going up
Right,
the
was
stairs.
it the
There
outside
you go.
handrail?
Going up the stairs. Those are the top two floors. There's another floor. Going up the stairs from the basement or ground floor to the second story where you see those sliding glass doors to the third story where you see the sliding glass doors with the balcony. The mystery blood DNA on the handrail could, as far as I know, been all the way down in the basement, nowhere near the dead bodies of these 4 students murdered in their beds.
Well, what does that tell you? If the blood is in the basement, who was in the basement? Bethany was in the basement. Okay, Dylan was on the second floor. Bethany was in the basement, and they didn't call the police for 8 hours when people are being brutally murdered and stabbed in the house. You can't tell me they didn't hear that shit. Right now, only did they not could they hear it? They seen it and still didn't call the police for 8 hours. And then when they called the police, they didn't even report a dead body in the house. They reported an unconscious person in the front. Somebody across the street called the police. Now, that to me is absolutely insane. The reason I want to go to the trial so bad is I want to hear what Dylan has to say, because her story don't make no sense. None whatsoever. There's no way to make any logical sense out of Bethany's story. I mean, Dylan's story or Bethany's story.
Yeah, but you don't have a house to go to see what you can hear from the other part of the house. That's the part that really bothers me.
Look what Casey says. They were texting during the crime. Listen, if I was Bryan Kohberger, I'd be blaming them 2 girls. That's who I'd be like, they did it, they did it, they did it. That's what I'd be. They planted that evidence against me. I don't know how they got it. I was there at a party, dropped my knife sheath. I don't know, but I'd be blaming them.
That's
if I was
why-
him.
See, that's why to me, this case is just not ever going to be solvable because to me, I would want to know. First of all, that's why I keep saying it's a party house. Because if they heard screams like that, they could have been used to screams like that just because there were always people over there. They were always partying. They could have thought, oh, they're just playing around.
But there's reasonable doubt. You can't convict when there's reasonable doubt. As soon as they go to the jury, if there's any reasonable doubt, you can't put this man away for the rest of his life when there's reasonable doubt like this, or you can't execute the man when there's reasonable doubt. There's a lot of reasonable doubt in this case. I mean, a lot more than a lot of the cases we've been following here lately.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
You know, there is some reasonable doubt.
I mean, there's
this.
a lot of reasonable doubt for me because they don't have the house. And
Now, isn't it true to Chris McDonough joining me,
oh, how convenient.
founder director of the Cold Case Foundation, former homicide detective with over 300 homicide investigations under his belt, star of the Interview Room on YouTube, Chris McDonough, isn't it true that when we were out at the scene, when you were there on your own, you observed a glove lying out in the parking lot? Isn't that true?
It absolutely is, Nancy. And I was standing on the street near the trash cans out front, and I looked behind that trash can, just, behind the yellow barrier tape. And there it was sitting right there in the snow. And I thought to myself, wow, that's out of place. And so I called one of the officers over and, I pointed it out to them, and they collected it.
As a matter of fact, we're showing a photo of that glove right now. Now, this was after the scene had been processed to some degree. This is after law enforcement had already come there, and there was a glove out in the parking lot. Okay, that's one glove.
Wasn't bloody.
And
it was touch DNA.
when I went to the scene as well, guess what I was wearing? I believe we have a photo. That. Guess what I dropped in the parking lot that day? This. I still have it. So let's talk about DNA inside a completely unrelated glove found out in the parking lot. Sydney Sumner, yes, no. Wasn't the glove found in the parking lot of the home?
That's correct, Nancy. Absolutely.
Okay, let's go straight back to Chris McDonough.
Nancy did it.
Chris McDonough, could you explain to me any, if any, significance of a random glove in the parking lot? What, if anything, could that mean? I'm sure the defense is having a field day with it, but realistically speaking, it wasn't on the sheath of the murder weapon under the victim's body. It's out in the parking lot. It could have been yours or mine, for Pete's sake.
Absolutely. In fact, Nancy, it could have also belonged to one of the investigators processing the scene.
Absolutely. That glove, I mean, it's
Belongs
outdoors.
to Bigfoot.
It belongs to Bigfoot.
Mhm.
It belongs to the blob in that picture. Real quick, we got 500 likes. Damn. Okay.
506.
And we got 925 of you here. So that means 425 people didn't hit the like button as you come in. All right. Do us a favor so I don't have to say it a million times a day. Just go ahead and hit that like button for us. It helps us in the algorithm, guys. One day I'm going to need to get to that 100,000 mark so I can get my plaque to hang on the wall back here. So I'm going to need your help. And the way you can help me do that is just by liking the video. Real easy. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. PJ's going to tell you how to like it.
Just click on the like button.
You just click on the like button. It's that easy and they didn't do it?
Yeah.
I thought you had to jump through a ring of fire to hit the like button.
No.
You just hit it like
You
button?
just click on it either with your finger or with your mouse.
With your mouse, like you just hover over it like woo, boop, and click it?
Yep.
Or on your laptop, what if you got a touchpad? You have to do your little finger
You
like that.
tap it
And you tap
with your
it?
finger.
Okay, how do you do it on your phone?
Or with your finger on the little button.
Oh, that all it takes is one finger?
Like this. Look, I'm gonna undo it and do it like this. That's me not doing it. And we went backwards. And now I just did it like this. See?
That's it?
That's it.
You people, that is it. Did you see how easy she just did that? Okay, now let's see if we can reach 900 likes. That seems pretty easy. I thought
We
you
have
had
932 in the room.
I thought you had to fight a lion, tiger, and a bear to
Oh
like
my.
it. It seems like that these days.
Oh
Hit the
my.
like button, people, says Abby. Abby is
Thank you,
awesome.
Abby.
Thank you, Abby. And she's been a member for 9 months. That's a lot of love right there, Abby. We appreciate it.
They could have accidentally dropped it and nobody saw it. Although, the defense would probably argue, hey, it's in the direction of where the car allegedly would have been parked, according to the police, that, the prosecution's going to say, this came from the suspect. My question is the blood on the inside or the outside of the glove? Because that could be significant.
Really good point. Guys, another theory has emerged. Now, wait for it. Listen to this.
Now, how
If
would the
it's a
killer's
glove.
glove get on the outside of the glove? And then how would he be bleeding on the inside of the glove?
If it's a mushy, smushy, freaking fabric glove, it's going to seep through. It's going to be on both parts of the glove.
But what I'm saying is, say I get a butter knife tonight and decide to butter you up, right?
I dare you.
And I got some gloves on. How am I going to be bleeding on the inside of the glove?
If I buttered your hand
And
through
then
the glove.
if I'm buttering you with the glove on, how am I going to get blood on the outside of the glove?
If it's not yours, it's mine. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It wouldn't be.
I don't.
That's the reason you would. I mean, you would have to
This
cut
seems
yourself.
like
And how do
they're
you cut yourself with
grasping.
gloves on?
I don't.
When Bryan Kohberger was arrested, his response to police, "Who else did you arrest?" There is much speculation over the comment, especially now that his defense claims unidentified male blood was found on a handrail at the King Road crime scene and on a glove outside. They say this points to potential other suspects or could be part of an elaborate plan to stage the crime scene. Veteran criminal profiler John Kelly tells news agencies that the remark could have come from Kohberger's expectation that other leads had been followed by police.
Straight out to special guest joining us, and you know him well. Howard Bloom is with us, who has conducted.
I don't know this guy. She just said you know him well. Do you know this guy?
I can't say that I do. He's awfully pale.
I've never seen this man before in my life.
I just asked ChatGPT, what serial killers asked the police, has anyone else been arrested? And she said, several serial killers have asked the police whether anyone else has been arrested, often to gauge if they were still under suspicion or to taunt law enforcement. One notable case is Dennis Rader.
Oh, BTK.
In 2004, after years of silence, Rader started sending letters to the media and police, reigniting the investigation. In one communication, he asked, has anyone else been arrested? To see if the police were on the wrong track. This eventually led to the capture in 2005 when he was tricked into sending a floppy disk that
from the church he
traced
worked
back
at.
to him.
He was like a deacon in the church, and he was the only one who had access to the computer, and he sent a floppy disk. And this is what I learned from that case, that anytime you send any file like that, it attaches your IP address. So he burned a CD, and when he sent it to the media, it burnt his IP address on it. The FBI got that CD. They were able to trace the IP address back to the church, and then the only person that had access to the computer was Dennis Rader, and then they were able to make the rest. BTK was a real monster. Yeah, he was. He would sit in people's houses and stalk them, and then jump out on them and, shine a flashlight in their face and do terrible things. And,
Extensive research and investigation over months, culminating in his new book, When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murders. And you can find him at his website, Howard Bloom, spelled BLUM.com. Howard, you have recently written an article in which you state there are stunning courtroom revelations. And I can't deny this, even though I don't think the state has arrested the wrong person. Mystery DNA.
Yes, you're absolutely right, lean on me. BTK is who Bryan's professor studied. So did Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You're absolutely right on that one.
Other males at the scene, blood DNA is going to be a hurdle for the state. Now, when it's explained slowly and carefully and calmly, I think the jury will see through it. But it's a bombshell.
Apparently, he's an author of crime books. I've never heard of the guy. I've never seen him a day before in my life. But Nancy thinks everybody knows him. Some people in the chat room knew who he was. I don't. I mean, this is the first time. Now I do. Now I know who he is.
What do you think about another expert's theory that Kohberger may have even staged it?
Trials tell stories. I think that's what we have to remember. The facts really don't matter that much. Here you have the defense being able to ask the question, how did that knife sheath get in that bedroom? Could someone have planted it there other than Kohberger? Because remember, it's not blood DNA from Kohberger on the knife sheath. It's touch DNA.
Yes, but that don't explain the circumstantial evidence of him being out stargazing that night. No alibi. Also, it don't explain how his phone was able to connect to their Wi-Fi. It don't explain none of those things. And even when I was watching like OJ's lawyer talk about the Bryan Kohberger trial, he said DNA is easy to get away with because labs make
Somebody
mistakes.
just messed it up. That's the opposition.
Yeah, that it was messed up at the lab. If you pull the records from the lab, they can show how many times they made mistakes. And if they made mistakes, you can fight the DNA. He said, but what you're not going to be able to fight is all the circumstantial evidence, like, you know, him driving by the house, his Wi-Fi connected, him not having an alibi, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The knife sheath being bought on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. I think he bought.
They are going to argue that perhaps he touched the knife sheath at some point, and these other two unknown males planted it there. They're going to try to convince the jury of this.
Put him up. Put him up. Okay, well, wait. I'm sorry. Maybe my IFB is not working because I think what I just heard you say is that someone got the knife sheath from Kohberger after he had touched it in the snap where you unsnap it to take the knife out, got it from Kohberger and planted it under a dead body. And
hold on, my earpiece ain't working. Is your earpiece working?
I don't have it on.
I think the old man just said somebody could have planted the sheath. Right? That's what I'm thinking. My earpiece. Everybody earpiece going bad in here? Right? I mean, it's possible. I ain't saying that happened. I'm saying it's possible. Nancy crazy. She's like, my earpiece must be messing up. My producer, my ear.
And then conveniently left behind their own blood DNA on the handrail and a random glove out in the parking lot. Query, were little green men from Mars part of this?
Oh my Lord. Aliens. Somebody
her.
just said in the chat room, aliens could have planted evidence, right? Y'all must have seen this. Y'all must have watched this. No, but what if there was another killer that took his knife from him, right? Somehow acquired his knife, went into that house.
Oh, I just had ChatGPT tell me. I'm new to ChatGPT, so excuse me. I'm referencing it, but I said, did Bryan Kohberger's phone connect to the Wi-Fi at the house? There's no publicly available evidence that Bryan Kohberger's phone connected to the Wi-Fi at the house where the University of Idaho murders occurred. However, investigators did determine that his cell phone had been near the house multiple times before the crime scene. What the investigation found: cell tower data, court documents revealed that Kohberger's phone pinged near the house at least 12 times before the murders, mostly late at night.
So he was stalking them.
Or early in the morning, correct.
So he was, not only did he go in there and kill them, but he had been stalking them prior to the incident.
Oh, and his phone activity. His phone was turned off or put in airplane mode during the estimated time of the killings, which investigators believe was an attempt to avoid detection. And surveillance and GPS law enforcement used surveillance footage, phone records, and DNA evidence to link Kohberger to the crime.
12 times. So he was near that house a lot, and he didn't live near there. He had no reason to be over there,
right?
But he was.
Right.
You can say it facetiously like that, but the evidence against Kohberger, besides the DNA, really doesn't stand up. everything is very weak. We can go through it again. There's no motive. There's no picture of him in the car. No license plate in the
Let's
car.
actually do. Let's go through it. Hold on. His
Hold
phone
up.
pings at his apartment at 2:42 a.m. the night of the murders. 5 minutes later, his phone is turned off. 3:29 a.m. A white Elantra matching his sedan passes the murder scene 3 times at 3:30 in the morning. 4:04, it comes back and stops in front of the house. 4:20, it leaves flying down that crookedy little road leading up to the murder
Yep.
scene. Then 4:48, it pings south of Moscow.
Somebody asked how long has he been in prison now? It's been a year now, right?
I thought it's been more than that.
15 months. I think it's somewhere like that. We got 631 likes and almost 1,000 people in the room. Hit that like button, people. Okay. I need it. I need you. I need you. PJ will not feed me today unless I get at least 1,000 likes. Okay. And she's cooking some what? What are you cooking?
Beef stew.
Beef stew. Okay. Now Dolly wants some stew. I want a little bit of that stew. I need it in my life. Okay. Now, if I don't get 1,000 likes on this video, PJ said she ain't feeding me. She's like that. Right?
Bryan Kohberger's been in custody since December 30th, 2022.
Okay, so how long is that? 23. So he was in there in 22.
December
so all
22.
of 23, 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years and 2 months.
2 years and 2 months. All right. God, it's that long? It seems like just yesterday he was, stabbing people up. How time flies. Beef stew and mashed? Yeah. But I don't know if I'm going to get to eat because y'all didn't like the video and PJ won't feed me. Okay?
You're really going to have these people believing
I'm serious. She will not feed me unless I get at least 1,000 likes on this video.
This man.
I miss help. Said help.
Plowing down State Highway 95 in the dark. Okay, let's see. To Sydney Sumner joining me, crimeonline.com investigative reporter. Sydney, his cell phone pings alone are damning. His Elantra is spotted there at the scene. We see him destroying evidence, cleaning out his car meticulously. Blood.
I disagree. We never seen him destroying evidence.
Right. Where did we see him destroy evidence?
That's a misspoke by Nancy. Dolly is just the 2 male blood DNAs here. It's all the other lies. Entire PCA was a lie. Go watch last hearing. Nancy's misspoke right there.
Where did we watch him clean anything?
He did clean his car out. We know that, but we don't know if we watched him destroy evidence. No.
I've never seen a video of him cleaning his car out.
He did clean his car. They watched him clean his car twice.
Did we see it though?
No, the police did. But there's no proof that he destroyed any evidence, is what I'm saying.
I didn't see that. She's saying we watched it. I didn't.
Let me give Nancy's warnings.
Yeah.
Nancy Grace is for entertainment purposes only. She talks news, rumors, speculation, gossip, mixed with a little bit of theories, add a little comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing as fact. It's just her opinion. Okay.
Anything she says can and will be used against her in the court of law.
Yeah, Nancy misspoke there. She didn't. We never seen Bryan Kohberger destroy evidence.
Yeah. Did the people that planted his sheep also drive his car around the house? Good question. Good point.
What if they stole the car and the sheep was in the car?
Shut up.
Okay. I'm writing a book next.
I can't.
I've been looking for ghostwriters for my book to help me write it.
My eyes are about to hit the back of my head.
By this time next year, I will have a book out.
Oh Lord.
Okay, because I've been looking for ghostwriters.
Someone save me.
If you're a ghostwriter out there that want to help me with my book, just hit me up. I'm seriously. I've been looking for ghostwriters.
Places him at the scene. Excuse me. DNA places him at the scene.
Thank you, Samantha.
So much more. Sydney Sumner, what evidence is the state using against Bryan Kohberger?
Nancy, there is so much evidence that the
I do think he's guilty. Don't get me wrong. I'm playing devil's advocate here tonight. You know what I'm saying? I think Bryan Kohberger is guilty. I don't know if
I do too, but I think they ruined the case by getting rid of the house.
yeah, I mean, there's some things I'm
There's
skeptical
a lot of
about.
questions. How did he get in and out of that house and not a single trace of his blood be on the scene?
I know. I mean, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate. I think he's guilty, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that the roommates had something to do with it and he's involved with the roommates. I don't know. I just think there's more to it that we don't know.
The state has to use against Bryan Kohberger. A lot of this is circumstantial at best, but that DNA evidence is absolutely damning. There's just no explanation for why that knife sheath is in that house if it isn't the murder weapon, and no explanation for why Kohberger's DNA would be on that knife sheath if he was not the murderer.
Straight out to a special guest joining us, Dr. Sherry Schwartz, forensic psychologist specializing in capital mitigation. The idea that Bloom is advancing, that somehow two other males were part of a big murder scheme where not only did they murder 4 innocent University of Idaho students, but it was all part of a plan to incriminate Bryan Kohberger by somehow getting his DNA on the knife sheath and planting it. I didn't even mention the searches, the Amazon searches, which the defense is trying desperately to suppress so the jury never hears about it. The Amazon searches, many searches for the weapon, and he finally buys the weapon with a sheath that exactly matches the one found at the murder scene.
Hold up, wait a minute. I never heard about him buying a knife.
It's on Amazon.
I heard he bought the sheath on Amazon.
He bought the knife on Amazon.
Do we have proof of that?
I believe we do.
I never heard that. I heard that they had found that he had ordered a sheath for a K-bar knife off of Amazon. But I never heard that he ordered the knife off of Amazon. I could be wrong, but I heard he ordered a sheath for a K-bar knife off of Amazon. Not that he ordered the knife itself.
Under a victim, but the knife has gone missing.
Wait a minute. Is that what you said?
He bought the knife on Amazon.
That's what
he bought the knife sheath on Amazon.
He bought the knife sheath on Amazon. I've never heard that he bought the knife on Amazon.
There's no publicly available evidence that Bryan Kohberger ordered a K-bar knife on Amazon or any other platform. However, investigators believe that a K-bar style knife was used in the attack. Sheath found at the crime scene was discovered next to one of the victims, had the DNA on his snap. That was purchased on Amazon.
Yes. I knew I was right.
I thought I had
he was
seen
hired by the
somewhere for
roommates
some
and was
reason.
cocky enough to think he could get away with it, and he might, because of his criminal education.
Yeah, but if I'm sure that roommate's going to testify against him, but she didn't point him out of a lineup either. Yeah, what if they're all in it together?
They would be able to get connected throughout their socials and throughout their
I would think so
together
too. You're
places.
right.
They would have
you're probably
connection.
right. You're probably right there.
I mean, it's not like the freaking Delphi where they're like Odin is doing shit on the black web or something. Like it's like this is too big of a conspiracy to add all of that stuff into what if they're all together doing it all? Like it's
I get it. Okay, but the blood makes no sense of another male being there.
It was a party house. It could have been anything.
Yeah, Dylan not calling the police
That's
make
not
sense.
Yes, that doesn't make sense at all.
She's seen the killer and watched him walk out the door with a knife. Listen, if he didn't have a knife sheath, where was the knife?
She saw a knife. Is that anywhere? I didn't see that.
No,
anywhere.
she didn't say that. She had to have seen the knife, though.
Unless he was holding it down at his side and walking briskly by. I mean, he ran out the house. He didn't just tiptoe out and freaking just slowly walk out. It said he sped off and everything. Like he didn't just, hey, how you doing to her either. I mean, if he saw her, he saw I don't know. It's just like we don't know little parts of the story that are pertinent, I think.
This is wild that you get your information from F and Nancy. No,
We're just listening to
no,
Nancy.
we're just
not
listening,
taking
Nancy.
info
That's
from
why
her.
I
We're
was
pointing out that she's wrong, actually.
Yeah, I was saying she's wrong that he bought the knife sheath on Amazon, not the knife. And what was the other thing I said that was wrong?
That what was the last thing you said?
I forget already.
I forget already too.
All right.
Like a big idiot. Now they're claiming your Amazon records are secret and private, and the state shouldn't be able to access them. Really? But that said, what jury would buy the argument that two unknown mystery men planned this whole thing to frame Kohberger?
I mean, it would more.
I think that's a tough sell because.
Well, what if it ain't to frame them, but they're involved with
Right,
them?
they were all there. Maybe.
Yeah.
It would be more likely for me to believe that more than one person committed that with the time frame that it supposedly occurred in.
Then yeah.
Than just.
And once we get through this, we'll open up the phone lines for the chat to discuss what's going on in the Kohberger case too, before we move on to the Stephan Stern stuff.
Because the reality is the simplest explanation is usually the one that's most correct. This was a college house where the kids had parties. When I was in college, cleaning up after a party.
Yes, you're right. It was my other thing that she was wrong about. There's no evidence of him ever destroying evidence.
Oh, yeah.
That was it. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me.
Party wasn't one of my priorities. And so that blood could have come from two different male people who were in the house. Maybe they were at a party and cut themselves. Who
the hell cuts themselves at a party though?
You literally cut yourself when you freaking go out and freaking mow the grass. I mean, it could be anything. There could be a spill, a glass could break, you could cut yourself, you could have a nosebleed. There could be like accidents, like you slip and fall and accidentally.
I mean, they doing so much Colombian Bam Bam. Dudes are just walking around with bloody noses. What?
It's possible.
Who knows how long that it was there?
A fight?
I think there's a number of explanations, but that's a pretty complicated explanation to say that he was framed and that all of these steps had to happen to do that.
With every twist and turn in this case, the victim's family
Turtle Island
more. At this hour, a bombshell. The defense claiming two mystery males' DNA found at the murder scene were 4 Idaho University students slaughtered in their own beds. You were just seeing the parents of Kelly Gonsalves speaking out. Take a listen to what we are learning about the defense argument.
Kohberger's attorneys claim the FBI illegally obtained Bryan Kohberger's DNA, breaking the Fourth Amendment on illegal search and seizure. They say submitting Kohberger's DNA to a public ancestry database was out of bounds when law enforcement is not legally permitted to use the site. The attorneys are also saying the fact that police did not only not submit 2 other blood samples from the scene.
Yes. Chicken pot pie. I agree with you that Nancy was wrong about Richard Allen also.
That stuff coming out in his case is just like, whoa.
Yeah, with the Ron Logan stuff.
Well,
and
the guy that
Keegan Kline being connected.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my! I told y'all, if you can show Keegan Kline is connected to Delphi, you have solved that case.
He was saying that he was helping Ron Logan access his burner phone because he didn't know technology very well, and so he would come over there and help him with his pedo accessing burner phone.
Yeah, let's don't get too off topic right now. We may get into that tonight.
That's crazy.
But what they've done to Richard Allen, and I was saying it that they were going to
Ron Logan's freaking.
So glad I finally joined. I've been lurking over a year now.
Oh well, thank you. Okay.
No,
let's don't get too off.
I would get really too into it.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
To the FBI's DNA database due to not fitting eligibility requirements, agents did not tell the magistrate judge about them. Taylor claims the omission should disqualify some evidence obtained.
Joining us, Dr. Thomas Coyne, Chief Medical Examiner, District 2 Medical Examiner's Office in Florida, pathologist, neuropathologist, toxicologist. Dr. Coyne, thank you for being with us. Much is being made about the mystery men's 2 DNA, 2 of them, unidentified males. We understand they're not the same they're not the same person, donor. Not just one mystery man, but
715
2
likes.
mystery
Let's get
men's
those likes
blood
up. Thumb it up.
DNA found at the murder scene. One, blood on a handrail. I'm curious, was it dried? Where in the home was it? There are 3 stories. The other on a glove discarded in the parking lot. Dr. Coyne, there are many ways to transfer blood, such as what?
Well, I mean, first of all, we're making the assumption that this is blood, and I don't think that it may very well not be blood. And the reason being is that DNA obtained from a nucleated blood cell or a nucleated cell from your mouth or from anywhere in your body is going to be the same. So the only way that you're able to identify that this is blood is either do an mRNA profile, which they didn't do here, or to apply another chemical reagent that will try to identify this substance as blood. And that generally occurs by reacting with iron that's present in hemoglobin in blood. And you make the assumption that, yes, this is blood. But iron is present in a lot of things. Copper, iron are all transition chemicals that, or metals, that can make this reaction look positive. So you're making the assumption that you're applying a reagent to an area in the house, you're getting a positive hit, you're swabbing it, you're getting a positive DNA hit, and now you're saying, yes, this is blood DNA. But there's DNA all over that house. We shed DNA everywhere constantly, especially a home that you have tenants that are all in college. I guarantee you there are multiple male and females coming in and out of that house on a regular basis, shedding their DNA everywhere.
To Justice Scott Morgan joining us, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon,
and the podcast,
and star of Body Bags. Joe Scott, you have investigated over 1,000 death scenes. You have collected blood at scenes. You have observed transfer, spatter, pooling, droplets, you name it. You have found the tiniest amount of DNA at scenes and collected it. Now, the defense is stating that this is male DNA, at least one of them being blood. I'm curious, Joe Scott Morgan, how is it that they know it's male DNA?
Well, it's because of the markers that are contained within our DNA molecule that differentiate between male and female. So that's relevant.
I met him at CrimeCon. He's a really nice guy.
I was there.
And I like his podcast.
I was there. I want to say something about the chatters.
Okay, go ahead.
There is a conversation going on between the people that truly, I believe, think that Bryan is being framed, and it's fascinating to me because someone says he didn't stalk them, wasn't friends with them on social media, and the pings are in a 10-mile radius. Lots of rumors, but there's no truth to it. And someone else says 100%. Then someone says, it really frustrates me with all the BS rumors hanging around this guy with no truth in it. Why didn't he have an alibi then? Why didn't he tell the people that were investigating it?
He did have an alibi. He was stargazing.
Right. So the 12 different times that his phone pinged within 10 miles of the radius, where was he? And why didn't he tell the people that were interrogating him that, oh, I was at so-and-so's house, or,
Because
oh, I was at this place?
He was busy looking at Uranus.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's what he said. He was stargazing.
Relatively easily narrowed down. And do they still have it? Is it something they can go back and do further testing on it?
Back to Howard Bloom joining us, author of When the Night Comes Falling, a requiem for the Idaho student murders. You state in your recent article that you fear that Bryan Kohberger has, let me quote, committed the nearly perfect crime. Why do you say that?
Because the evidence against him is largely circumstantial, except for the DNA. The only really condemning evidence against him is after he's arrested, they do a cheek swab. The DNA from that cheek swab matches the DNA on the knife sheath. That's
Now, here's one thing that's crazy. He was smart enough to get in that house, right? Do all these murders, get out the house, get in his car, go back to his apartment, not leave no DNA anywhere but on that knife sheath. Don't you think he would have been smart enough to clean the knife sheath off?
I mean, I think there's just the absolute tiniest bit of skid shedding on it that, like, he might have wiped it. He didn't wipe inside the crevice of it. Something. I mean, he missed something somehow. It's crazy.
That's it. Everything else, the car, they never have him behind the wheel. They never get the license plate of the car. The cell phone triangulation, well, that's just 10 miles. The eyewitness allegedly for Dylan Mortensen, that's been impugned. So on and on and on. And if the defense can create a story now with this new blood evidence in telling another scenario, another possibility to the jury, it could be effective. In fact, in court, it was Judge Hippler himself who said, after hearing the defense make the statement about the DNA, are you saying that Kohberger had people helping him, that he had accomplices? He raised this issue. And if he's able to articulate it, it will, I think, land very squarely in the minds of the jurors.
Bloom, wait a minute. He only said that, obviously, because Ann Taylor's argument isn't making any sense. She is saying, I guess, jumping on your train, that two unknown mystery men either helped or framed Bryan Kohberger. He's saying it just like I said it. Is that what you're saying? Just like when I said, what's next? Little green men from Mars beamed down and helped out. He is trying to get his mind around the defense claim. Are you saying that two men helped Kohberger? That this is a big murder conspiracy? Either helped him commit the murder or tried to frame him? He's saying it just like I'm saying it right now. Is that really what you're saying?
No,
I don't read anything into that except incredulity.
Saying it because he also raised the question of a Frank's hearing. He did not rule it out. He had to give it more thought. And I think, I'm not saying it's what happened. I'm saying this is an effective story. Ann Taylor is a storyteller.
Okay, hold on, Bloom.
Tell a story.
You know what a Frank's hearing is, right? What do you think a Frank's hearing is?
It's to impugn the evidence that the police gathered to get a search warrant.
For probable cause. Okay? And he responded with incredulity.
Nancy is a trip, right? She is a trip. She is a smart woman, though. She is definitely a smart woman. That's all them years of being a prosecutor.
At that very claim, that the search warrant and the arrest warrant were not supported by constitutional PC probable cause. Listen to what Hippler says.
Judge Steve Hippler and Kohberger's lead defense attorney Ann Taylor seem to be at odds over DNA found at the crime scene. The defense wants investigative genetic genealogy evidence used to identify her client suppressed. The question being, is there an expectation of privacy for DNA left at a crime scene? Judge Stephen Hippler says he struggles with the idea that there's any expectation of privacy. Hippler added that the DNA found on the knife.
PJ just said she's going to go turn the food off. Oh my God. I told you if we don't hit 1,000 likes, Dolly don't get to eat. And she just said, I don't know if y'all heard her. Did anybody hear? Press 1 if you heard PJ say it.
They heard me.
She said she was going to go turn the damn food off. Y'all going to make me starve to death tonight because y'all won't hit the damn like button on the video. Okay, we got over 1,000 people in the room. All I need is 1,000 likes to get a bowl of stew tonight, right? And I just want to eat. I just want to eat, people. Thank you, OU812. See, OU812 got to eat, right? That's why they like the video. What if you were sitting there hungry and all you needed was a free like to feed somebody? Think about this. You can feed the homeless today, Dolly, me, okay? Feed the hungry. And look, I got a little pot belly in here. And I don't make me sing in the eyes of an angel. Start shaking. Feed me, people. Feed me, Seymour. Just like the damn video. I hit the like button for you, Dolly. Thank you. Dolly need to eat stew. Hit the like. That is right. Without 1,000 likes, PJ will not feed me. She's like, you didn't do your job. Nobody gives a fuck about what you had to say on YouTube. You only got 891 likes. You didn't get 1,000. You get 1,000. No, you ain't. Make your own stew. And y'all gonna do me like that? Good Lord.
Make your own stew.
Look, we got 759 likes now, right?
That's
All I
not good
want,
enough,
and it has
people.
little red potatoes in it. Okay, Miss Margaret says, "Get on the Dolly
Getting on the
train."
Dolly and PJ train.
Okay, it has little onions in it, the little chive onions, like the little green ones. Okay, what else you put in? Carrots?
I'm not telling.
There's no carrots in it. It don't have carrots. It don't have carrots.
Knife sheath is probable cause every day and twice on Sunday, and Taylor disagreed.
There you have it. I mean, Bloom, you can sit back in your easy chair and write books and articles as interesting and as informative
Your
as
easy chair. You don't get no stew either, bitch. That's what Nancy's telling them right now. You can sit back in your easy chair, but you ain't getting no stew, because you didn't get 1,000 likes on your book. Okay. Nancy's just like you. She's like your easy chair.
they are and try to interpret what the judge is saying. But his words are DNA on that knife sheath is probable cause every day and twice on Sunday.
Twice on
Bam.
Sunday.
And what did he say after that? He said, hold your calendars free because we might want to have a Franks hearing. So he hadn't resolved it as clearly as
You know
he
why?
said.
Wait a minute.
Hold
on. Philip
I'm
Dubay.
here.
Can you just debate? Can you just take off your defense hat really quickly? Okay. And just tell me the truth.
A toddler.
If the defense wants a Franks hearing before the judge, they're going to get a Franks hearing. Why? This is a death.
I heard Nancy one day say, I need new experts. Who got me new experts? I need new experts. I was like, Nancy, don't be effing around.
Penalty case. And if they want the judge to hear their argument and then rule, of course, Hippler's going to do it. A judge, especially in a death penalty case, is not going to say, I don't even want to hear what you've got to say, Ann Taylor. That right there could be reversible error. So, of course, he's going to have a Franks hearing. A Franks hearing is when the judge looks at the probable cause that supported a search or an arrest warrant and determines, really, was there enough PC? PC can be based on hearsay. It can be based on third-party information.
You can smell
but
it,
it has
Dolly.
to be enough to support a search or an arrest. Do you really think in any way, in any world debate, that Hippler is not going to allow a Franks hearing? For him to say, yes, you can have a Franks hearing, that means nothing.
Of course he's going to allow it, and he should, because remember, the test is whether or not the affidavit of probable cause is supported by truthful, accurate facts that were relayed in the affidavit of probable cause under oath. If for whatever reason there were factual omissions, misstatements, and frankly lies, that is grounds to traverse the warrant and suppress everything recovered as a result of it. Or alternatively, the court can find that despite the inaccuracies and the omissions, even if you sever that, there's still ample probable cause to allow the warrant to survive.
Object.
Okay, I'm only 200 likes away from getting to eat dinner tonight. Okay.
Got a double shift, so I'm out. Much love, Dolly and PJ.
Okay, got a double shift. Don't work too hard now.
I want to read this about the DNA because I knew that your DNA could be used against you when my sister did that 23andMe DNA kit. I was like, what do you need to know? She wanted to know where she was from. And I'm like, you already know, which I was right. It came back like 98% Croatian and like 3% Dutch or something weird. But anyways, submitting your DNA to an ancestry kit like 23andMe can potentially be used in a crime investigation, either against you or a family member, depending on the company's policies. It's literally written in fine print on all their freaking containers. If your DNA is an exact match to the crime scene, it could link you to the crime directly. Even if you didn't commit the crime, your DNA can help identify a relative who did it. Investigators use genetic genealogy to track down family trees and pinpoint suspects. I mean, they use
Yeah,
it.
they
It's a
use
known
it.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So why are they trying to say that it shouldn't be allowed?
Well, I mean, if you're a killer, it shouldn't matter. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you should be able to use it anyway. Like, I don't think you have any privacy when there's a murder involved.
No, I mean, you shouldn't.
Right? Like, it's just like if they suspected me of murder and said, hey, we need your DNA.
Notable case of this where it's occurred is the Golden State Killer. Police used GED match to identify Joseph D'Angelo, the Golden State Killer, by tracing his relatives through DNA.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Absolutely. Golden State Killer.
To that evidence being searched for identification purposes. There's no case that suggests that concludes that. And it seems to me to be an extreme position to take in light of the case law. And I'm trying to understand how you get there.
Okay, my notes when the judge was saying that, when Hippler was saying that, is Hippler knows defendant's attorney is crazy. Okay, now what does that mean? The defense in this.
Yeah, no blood. It's touch DNA. So it's skin cells off his fingers.
And you know, that could be another person, just like if you and me were together and I hugged you and then I went and did a crime, that your DNA could be on me.
Or my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This case is arguing that once the DNA was found on the knife sheath, that the state illegally had it tested at the crime lab. Okay, that's like you find a bullet at the scene and you send it to the crime lab for ballistics tests. That's the equivalent. They're actually claiming that that was unconstitutional. And the judge is saying, like, let me understand again what you're saying here. And he comes out and says, there's no case to suggest or support what you're saying. You understand that, right? Anyway, there's another issue, cell phone data. Listen.
Kohberger's defense team has hired cell phone expert Cy Ray to testify in support of Kohberger's alibi. The former police officer and founder of ZX bases his analysis on the pings that a cell phone sends to a nearby tower using the software Trax. But many have questioned the reliability of Ray's data. Many other experts say Trax's methodology is not based in science, and a Colorado judge has even banned prosecutors from using the software in their cases.
What cell phone data? Number one, we know where his phone pinged. Let's see that graphic one more time. And we know that at the time of the murders, he conveniently turned his cell phone off and then turned it on again when he was fleeing the scene, according to the state. Scott
Penny, we're not at 1,000 likes yet. Dolly don't get to eat till we get to 1,000 likes.
8:30.
We're at 8:30. So we're 170 views away from me getting a bowl of stew tonight.
And whoever said that, do I not realize that Googling an answer doesn't mean it's 100% accurate? I'm not stupid.
Google wouldn't lie to us.
Shut up. But
Iker is joining me, founding member of the FBI Cellular Analysis Survey Team. Let that just sink in. Founding member of the FBI.
I believe everything I see on the internet. I don't believe none of this shit, right? Don't believe nothing you hear and nothing you see these days, all right? We're at 831 likes. Thank you for liking the video. You rock.
I see 842.
Okay? 842?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're getting closer to Dolly eating. You guys are all right, all right? I ain't going to say nothing bad about you when I'm not live.
Cell Analysis Team. That says it all. You can find them now at pcaexperts.com. Precision Cellular Analysis. This is what he does all day, every day, and as Hippler said, twice on Sundays. Scott Iker, thank you for being with us. What are they talking about? They have a cell phone expert that's going to say what?
I can tell you, Nancy, I've dealt with this cell phone expert, Mr. Cy Ray, and we have for years and years dealt with him and how he brings stuff into court. The best way to explain it is that judge in Colorado who basically said that his software is based on a sea of unreliability. He found that Mr. Ray was not credible, claiming that he was boasting his credentials, inaccurate, claiming he was an engineer. And they basically said, you can't use his stuff or use him as an expert in Colorado here because it's baseless. And the reason they're doing that, and I don't know Mr. Ray personally, but we've dealt with his estimates and misleading information in what he says about cell phone stuff numerous times, and it's very important to make sure you're accurate, because it can be very problematic and misleading if you don't just state the facts. You can't expound on those and guess.
Scott Eicher, I want to tell you a very quick story. I had a medical examiner, and no offense to you, Dr. Coyne, or to you, Joe Scott Morgan, but this medical examiner, I had seen transcripts where he was totally discredited under oath. And I waited for him to take the stand for the defense. And then I remember the look on his face when I started pulling out all those depositions. At least here the defense is getting an idea ahead of time that their expert may have a credibility problem. Are you telling me he claimed to be an engineer and he's not an engineer?
That is correct. He is not an engineer. He was actually a police officer or sheriff in, I think it was in Texas or Arizona. And he started working cases around cell phone stuff. And, he has basic knowledge. He's never had any training from engineers like I have, what we did in the FBI. So he doesn't have the knowledge or the expertise, and then he's taking leaps where there's really no facts to support what he's saying sometimes.
Philip Dubé, that is a major misstep to put up an expert that's going to be destroyed on cross-examination, on credibility alone.
They always do that.
Short legs, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know criminals always return to the scene of the crime. A lot of criminals are in the news reports while the cops are out there finding the bodies.
All right.
I've seen actual killers give interviews with the news.
Yeah.
You
This
know?
is the thing, though. Like, all of this happens almost every single case we've covered lately. It's like there's always there's like no direct way to test something one set way. They always find an expert and pay an expert. The defense always finds their own expert, and then that expert is different than different than what the prosecution says, because it's basically what they get paid to do and say. And so now it's like you're left thinking like, well, what the hell is it? Because you've got one expert saying their way is the best and correct way, and the other expert saying their way is the best way and the correct way. And like, I mean, can you always just find an expert that'll just say what you want them to say?
Well, it's just like opinions. Everybody sees things differently. You just find an expert that sees things the way you see it.
All right. And so basically what they're going to do, again, just like with Karen Reed's case, is find an expert that says the 10-mile radius is flawed and that God knows where he was at the time stargazing. And,
Yeah, but
so
that's not a very solid.
So we've got people in chat that are very good, longtime members that are saying, this guy's
innocent.
Yeah, and
I knew that.
I know, but
like, believe he's innocent.
That this other expert for the defense is how dare they bad talk him? And
that he's good at what he does.
Great.
Yeah.
And, I mean, here we go. We're doing this all over again. Like, I don't.
If that happens in this case.
Yes, of course. But remember, he's putting on an alibi defense. He is saying that he was stargazing and chanting at ashram, sitting in a lotus position with the phone off. And if he's at one with the universe, praying and saying namaste, that's his defense. Now, will it fly? Remains to be seen.
I mean, that's a crazy.
Finally, there of our DNA, when the government does not have a warrant and searches it, there is no privacy right left.
Okay, I had to really focus on what Ian Taylor is saying. To Defense Attorney Dubé, he is arguing that when the trash was taken from Kohberger's parents' home in the Poconos and they got the dad's DNA and matched it back to the knife sheath, when the trash was taken, that was illegal. I guess she never heard about the abandonment theory. If I throw out the trash or I throw out gum on the street, which I would never do, and the cop comes along and gets my DNA off of it, that's abandonment. Anybody can have it because I threw it away. I don't need a warrant.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah.
They do that in
Everybody
a lot of
knows
cases. A lot. I've seen them give criminals cigarettes.
Dog the bounty hunter was out searching
or a
somebody's
cup
trash
of coffee. Give them a cup of coffee, and then when they throw the cup away, they take the cup
DNA
right out
on
the
the
trash.
cup. Yes.
Yeah, so they use that to set you up too, like that, to get your DNA. So yeah, they have the right to acquire the DNA because once you throw it away, unless it's sitting on your. Here's the thing, though: if it's sitting on your property and they go in it, that's different. Once it's taken by the truck would be different.
I'm pretty sure it was on their property still, but in the trash.
You know, so you have that weird gray area of like you going on my property to get my trash is different than if my trash was dumped into the truck and you took it. See what I'm saying? Or you threw it in a can that didn't belong to you in public property.
Wasn't Bryan going out of his way to throw stuff in his neighbor's trash can?
Okay, here's the thing. Say I go set $100 bill in my trash can out there, and you come up on my property and take that $100 bill. That's still theft. That was my $100 bill on my property.
That's different.
It's still on my property. So if I throw this can away and you come on my property and take my can, you just stole my can. It's until it's off my property, it is mine. That's how I see it. But you know, the law may see it a little differently.
She's claiming that the trash pull was wrong, and she's arguing.
But he was throwing stuff away in the neighbor's trash.
That's what I said. So it depends, I guess, where the trash was or something. I mean, this is.
Once the can hits the curb, it's free. Yeah, because usually the curb you don't own.
It's the easement.
It's the easement. You usually don't own 3 foot of that up to the curb because that's where power lines and power poles are. If it's past the power poles, it's on city property.
Yeah.
But if it's on the other side of the power lines, it's your property.
Arguing that Kohberger's great-great-great-grandma has a privacy interest. When they put Kohberger's DNA from the knife sheath into the genetic genealogy, whose rights are they violating? Great-great-granny? What? That's what she's arguing. You know that's BS.
Disagree. Come on, listen. They just took the DNA profile, his genetic components, put it into a database where they had no actual or apparent consent to look at it. And the real test is...
We're 10 more away from 900. I'm only 110 likes away from eating tonight. I haven't eaten in 3 days. Okay, the last two videos. The last 2 videos I put out didn't get 1,000 likes, so PJ didn't feed me. So I haven't eaten.
To the fancy steak place you ate.
I haven't eaten in 3 days, people. I can feel my ribs touching. Help.
Notice he's saying the number 3. That's one of the signs.
Does he have a subjective and objective expectation of privacy in his own genetic material, as opposed to just taking the genetic material and putting it in a government database where you have a bunch of arrestees and suspects already on file without actual or apparent consent? It violates the 4th Amendment, and the remedy is you throw out all the flowing evidence.
Consent from who? None of those people
Now
have to complain, to argue in court. This is about the defendant's right to privacy, and taking the DNA off that knife sheath and putting it into genetic genealogy does not violate his rights. And as far as the trash pull, the father, Kohberger's father, threw out trash. It was abandoned under the law, according to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Slim says, Dolly, did you eat chicken at the fancy steakhouse? No. I actually ate a filet. Okay. I ate a steak and sweet potato fries and broccoli. It was delicious. Okay. Delicious.
You're claiming they're wrong. That property was abandoned and the police have full access to that. But hold on, I'm just being joined by a very special guest joining us regarding the Idaho death penalty and execution methods. Dr. James Williams, leading courtroom expert.
Dolly got to eat. Hungry face. Hey, Dolly, PJ, and Turtle.
Dolly, Sonia, thank you. Dolly got to eat. Everybody know that. And listen, Dolly gets to eat tonight. There's 1,074 of you in the room. Once we hit 1,000 likes, PJ will feed me tonight. Okay. So make sure y'all hit the like button if you're just tuning in. And I'm, that way I don't got to say it a million times. But thank you, Sonia. I didn't know that was the hungry emoji.
I didn't know that either.
Oh, see, Dolly got to eat hungry emoji.
On firing squads. Dr. Williams, thank you for being with us.
Happy to be
Idaho,
here.
thank you. The Idaho Assembly has now determined that the firing squad again, of course, this has already occurred in Idaho, will be allowed as the number one choice for execution. How is that affected? Many people wonder, is it automated or are there actual people firing the gun?
Okay.
Are.
It's actual people that fire the guns, but what they
But-
do is there's only one real bullet.
Uh-huh. And they
Okay?
don't tell the person who
So how it's
shot
the
it.
real bullet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That way you don't know who killed the person. There's one real bullet and you don't know whose gun is loaded with it. You all fire at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's only one
It
live
directs
bullet.
the bullet directly into, like, it's not a.
My
you don't
whole thing
miss.
about that with the one bullet thing is, what if you don't kill them on the first shot?
It's going directly into the heart, and it's a bullet that doesn't, like, you don't miss.
Nuh-uh.
That's what I read.
No. It's fired from a gun from a person.
So what if that person has bad aim?
I guess they get the people with the best aim.
There's something to it.
Search it.
I just got chewed out for searching and
How
believing things on
does
the
the
internet.
firing squad work in Idaho?
Well, that's a good question, Nancy. Nobody really knows at this point. The state has stated that they're still working on their procedures and protocols, but we do know from background information that they have drawn heavily on the experience of the state of Utah, which of course has been using firing squad as a method of execution since the middle of the 19th century. But there has been speculation that they may use some form of automated
shot,
system.
yeah.
Automated would be, I think, stretching it. But having rifles mounted in fixtures that would be aimed presumably by human beings prior to the actual execution, and then they would be fired by some remote mechanism, electronically.
A robot?
No, that is not how it happens. That is not how the firing squad happens. It's one bullet, and they fire it from a gun, so they don't know who killed the person, and it's people that fire the shots.
Target often a small circular mark is placed over the person's heart. Trained marksmen, the shooters are usually trained law enforcement or military personnel who are skilled in marksmanship. Multiple shooters, 5 or more, firing simultaneously. 1 or more of the shooters are given a blank round so the individual shooter knows for certain if they fired a live round. That could reduce psychological burden. The squad usually fires from relatively close distance, around 25 feet or less, to improve accuracy. And in rare cases where a person does not pass immediately, an officer may administer a final coup de grace shot to the
That's
head.
right. Yep. They walk up and bust your ass in the melon.
Well, not really a robot. It would actually be, as I understand it. Well, it could be actually. I should back off on that. Sure, if they've got a robot that's that sophisticated, they may well use it. But I don't know of anything like that in existence technologically.
Okay, let me just try to drink in and ingest what you just said. Guys, Dr. James Williams is a leading expert on the firing squad. So you're saying that it's actually being...
That's a good question. Brittany says, do we even know if the murder weapon matches the sheath that was found? If it doesn't, that would be a huge too, right? Because some of them said they were stab wounds and some of them said they were gaping wounds, like ripping wounds. So that's a good question. Do the wounds match a K-bar knife?
They say that is the match to the knife, but how do they know that? That is a great question.
Well, how do you have some wounds that are huge wounds and some wounds that look like stab wounds? Almost like a crowbar.
I mean, I'm sure there's different ways to utilize the same weapon.
Maybe.
Advocated that a robotic system or a digital system be set up to take perfect aim at Kohberger and shoot him dead, as opposed to 5 people standing there, one of them has a blank, and they all fire, and they can all go home thinking, oh, I was the one with the blank. Why?
I'm not sure what the reasoning behind it is. I think there's a lot of arguments, and at this point, really, it's all speculation. We know that they have been discussing this in numbers of jurisdictions, and Idaho is one of them. But the actual motives behind doing it that way are unclear to me. Butchery went down, just give me an opportunity to do it. But it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to step in and facilitate this. But we have to keep in mind, even with the capital punishment that they decide upon, it's just like anything else. If you're talking about lethal injection, or as we've recently used here in Alabama, this exposure to gas, and we're talking about nitrogen gas that they're now using. There is a human element. Somebody has to press something. Somebody has to flip something.
They use nitrogen gas in Alabama.
Yeah, and
They've been executing people with. No, they did work.
It didn't work for a while. They had to up it or something.
They executed somebody not too long ago with nitrogen gas in Alabama. I remember it was a big deal. I was like, damn, don't mess around in Alabama. They give you the damn gas chamber.
He has to initiate the sequence. And, the military has had firing systems for years and years where they can target a weapon at a specific point. Now, I think the curious question here is, are we talking about multiple weapons that are being used in a traditional sense? Are we talking about a single weapon that is targeted, say, for instance, center mass over the individual to be executed over their heart? That's quite something when you begin to think about it.
What, Joe Scott? I love it when you start talking this way, but are you, just to put it in a nutshell, they're considering an automated system where, quote, nobody has to pull the trigger. Okay, can we just see a shot of these victims, these 4 victims, with their lives in front of them, falling to sleep in their own beds? They were slaughtered like animals, getting rendered in a butcher shop. If evidence supports Kohberger is guilty of these murders in some bizarre experiment to see what it felt like to kill people, he may very well be subjected to the Idaho death penalty. If convicted, I guarantee you there would be a line wrapped around the building to pull the trigger. At this juncture, he is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. We remember an American hero, Officer Jason Roscoe, North Las Vegas PD, shot and killed in the line of duty. A U.S. Air Force vet, served over 17 years with North Vegas PD.
Rest in
Survived
peace,
by 2
Jason Roscoe. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that think he's innocent, and there's a lot of people that think they're guilty. I guess we're going to have to wait and let the court decide which one it is, right? Did you want to jump in? Do you want to go ahead and jump? Do you want to take calls?
Yeah, we can take calls.
Or do you want to jump into the Stephan Stern stuff?
We can take calls about this so it doesn't get confusing, even though callers never really followed the rule and call about the call, but just to do it.
All right, I'll open up the phone lines.
I'm trying to make a post for Turtle Island tonight.
Turtle Island is tonight. Okay. All right, the phone lines are open. Let me throw in the call-in number on the screen. All right, and let's discuss the case a little bit. If you think Bryan Kohberger is innocent and he's being framed, call in. All right, let's hear from you. I know a lot of people in the chat were saying that,
a few in the chat.
A few of you guys were saying that Kohberger was framed. Let's hear from you tonight. If not, you're more than welcome to call in. The call-in numbers on the screen, 757-797-6694.
Am I plugged in?
And PJ is taking the calls tonight.
I'll listen and talk to your calls while you take calls.
I feel he is guilty as heck. Well, call in. Let us know. Let us know. The call-in numbers on the screen. And then we're going to jump into some of the Stephan Stern things. And I want to tap in on Sebastian Rogers a little tonight.
Okay.
Is the phone? Let me make sure the phone line's open. All right. Phone line is now open. Let me refresh it. There we go. Calling number is on the screen. Dolly, PJ.
Hey, Dolly and PJ, it's Boucher Street.
Hey, Boucher Street.
How are you doing?
Doing all right.
That's
Hopefully I get to
cool.
eat tonight if everybody likes the video.
I just wanted to call and tell you that I remember that the FBI was watching him even at the house.
Uh-huh.
And he had taken some garbage and put it in his neighbor's garbage can.
Yes.
And I think that's how they got it.
Yes, but the trash he was putting in the neighbor's garbage can still didn't have anything to do with the Idaho 4.
Oh, it wasn't from the car?
Yeah, I mean, the trash was from the car, but there wasn't no trash that linked him to the crime.
Okay. I thought it's because even when the FBI went in, he was separating garbage with rubber gloves or something like
Yeah,
that.
yes, he had on gloves, but they said he wore those gloves to the grocery store and everything, that he's a germaphobe.
Really?
Yeah. So it ain't
I
like it.
believe he could be a germaphobe.
Yeah, maybe, or just in case he got to kill anybody, he always has gloves on. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Have you ever
but-
seen the old movie Student Body?
No.
It's about it's like a slasher film, like a comedy kind of slasher film, but the killer in it wears these green gloves, and then everybody in the movie for some reason just randomly has a pair of blue gloves on, so you don't know who the killer is. It's an old movie.
I can't watch that stuff because of my PTSD.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I don't know. I follow.
So do you think
the same thing sometimes?
Do you think Kohberger is guilty?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, all right. We appreciate you
But
calling.
I also have a part of me that wonders if one of the surviving roommates was with him.
Maybe. I mean, I have them same questions about Dylan. I don't think Dylan's story is it don't make
Is
sense.
Dylan the one that saw him, or is Dylan
Yes,
the one that
Dylan.
was downstairs?
Dylan is the one that saw him. Bethany was downstairs.
Yeah, that's the one I'm wondering, because they didn't put out anything about her.
If everyone would say a prayer
After
for
it
my
all
brother.
happened, they were
He
focusing
lost his
on the
best
other
friend of years
roommate.
today, his little dog.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They haven't said anything about her. So I'm kind of wondering if she left with him to get rid of the stuff and ended up at his apartment for a little while. And then when he was back at 8:30 in the morning, I think he could have been dropping her off.
All right. Well, hey, look, we appreciate you calling in. Till next time.
All righty. See you tonight.
All right. Peace. All right. So let me touch in on this super chat. If everyone would say a prayer for my brother, he lost his best friend of years today, his little doggy. Oh, little fur babies. Now, you know me, I love my little doggies. PJ loves her little doggy. Now that I done kidnapped her little doggy, and now he's my doggy. So both the dogs are mine. PJ no longer has a dog. They're traitors.
Lolo's mine.
I know the dogs. Lolo seems like she hangs out with you more, and Wrangler hangs out with me more.
Mm-hmm.
Dolly.
Hey, Dolly.
Hey.
It's Rita from Dexter. I had to turn you down.
Hey, Rita.
Hey, I don't know if he's innocent or guilty, but I couldn't be on that jury.
It's getting a little tricky. I mean, I'll say there's a little bit of reasonable doubt. I don't think it's a lot of reasonable doubt because of the DNA. I mean, that's the most damaging thing. But I think Dylan has some explaining to do to make it make sense. And, I don't know who the DNA belongs to of these other two guys, but that's even more.
That's worse. That's bad.
Reasonable
That's blood. That's blood evidence. And one of them inside the house on a railing. They don't even know what railing it is. She said she didn't know if it was the one in the basement or not. They don't know which railing they found that blood at, but they found it and it was there. And they tore that house down way too soon. I don't care if the school wanted that house
If you're in
down.
weather today, stay
That house
safe.
was evidence. And a lot of those cops were new and young and scared. And the senior investigator had to go in there and help them along with it. And of course they were scared. They had never seen anything like that. And for one man, this is the only problem I have with this, one man to kill 4 people that violently, that viciously in 30 minutes, I think they have their timeline wrong.
I thought
They
it
got
was
3
6
guys,
minutes.
Yeah, it was
30 minutes for all 4 victims.
No, I think
It
it's
was
6 minutes.
I just don't understand how they could have done that. And also the 3 guys that were seen running from the house at 3 a.m. Everyone knows that Xana's DoorDash order was at 4:30 in the morning, almost 4:13 or something. So her DoorDash order, so she was fine for that because she went, picked up the order and everything. I think she even gave the DoorDasher a rating. So after that is when all of that happened. And from what they're saying is whoever entered that home, they got to Xana and Ethan first before they made their way up to the girls' room. And the way they viciously, and what happened to that, there's just this took a lot of anger. Whoever did this hated those girls, those girls. The only problem I have with them saying Bryan's guilty, and I'm not saying he's innocent, is he has absolutely no motive whatsoever to want to hurt these 4 people, 1 male, 3 females that never had done nothing to him. The only connection Bryan had with these girls that I'm aware of, and that's only because I follow every Facebook page that goes to this. One of those people, one of those girls had a, it was Instagram account. I think it was Instagram.
I heard that was fake. No,
I
heard that was fake also.
That was all they said was that he liked the photo. And that was it.
Fake. That it was fake. He wasn't following any of them on social media.
But coming into this, like say if I didn't know about this case and I was selected for this jury and I went in a jury room with the evidence they have and the fact that the house was tore down and the fact that we've got blood evidence that they can't match to anybody, not to one man, but to 2 separate men.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Ethan's blood because Ethan's DNA they have because he's one of the victims.
Yeah.
It can't be an investigator or a cop's blood because an investigator and cop's blood is also in the system in CODIS. So it's not theirs. So that leaves it to someone else. There are 2 people. The glove outside I could excuse. That could be anybody's. Could have got there anyway. But the railing is very telling. Mm-hmm. So, and unless he had help and he did this with someone, I just don't see a guilty verdict in this. I see a hung jury. With what they have right now, I see a hung jury. And I'm very curious as to what's going to happen in court. I'm not going to miss this. I hope you're covering the whole thing because I'm going to be wanting to see all of it. And I don't know if they're going to make, I don't know if they're probably going to, I don't know. I think they're going to make this private. I don't see them making this public. I don't know how they're going to do this. But court is in what, May?
September.
Oh, September. Well, I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to make sure I'm watching every bit of it. But again, I could not be on that jury. I could not because I would not be able to come to a complete decision that he worked and acted and did this by himself. I would not be able to do that on my own. I'm just saying that this is going to be a big problem. They are going to have to get to the bottom of this and whose blood this is, find out whose it is, do something before court. They're just going to have to.
All right, Rita. Well, it's good talking to you.
All right. I'll keep watching.
All right. Peace.
All right. Bye.
All right. Do you want to jump into the Stephan Stern stuff now? Because we don't have a whole lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had one of these videos pulled up that you wanted to go over.
There's that one. You could just play that one.
Okay. All right. We'll take one more call on the Kohberger stuff as it's ringing. Dolly, PJ.
Hi, Dolly. Hi, PJ. This is Kelly from Mass.
Hey, Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
How are you?
We're doing pretty good.
I only caught the end of it, but I did catch earlier when I seen about the DNA evidence on the sheet. So I watched something last night, and it said basically, it was a documentary. I can't remember who. It was in the middle of the night, but basically it was saying that the way they found him was through his dad.
Yes.
Like, right? Okay. So I just, and it was like bazillion % or something, right? So, I mean, the only way to me that could not be true is if they planted that there, right? From something from his house or his trash.
Yeah.
right?
I don't think
So,
they planted nothing, but I could be wrong.
no, I don't think so either. That's what I mean. That's like, I don't get me wrong. I definitely think he did it.
Only the Massachusetts police plant stuff.
Right. No, that trust me. Listen, I told you guys before. I'm a recovering addict. I've done my stint in prison. You know, but that's neither here nor that's for another day. But yeah, you know, that's why when I hear some of the stories and some of the call-ins and like the drug stories, and I'm like, I know, like I'm hit. You know what I mean? I know. I've been on the worst of the worst streets. Like,
yeah,
I've been clean for 10 years now. So,
congratulations.
you know, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
Right. I have my 8-year-old son. Like right now, we're in a family shelter, but we're on our way to like, you know, bigger and better things. So
awesome.
Yeah. So I just like me and my son watches you. He's 8. I mean, you know, there's certain ones I won't let him watch, obviously, but I just with this case, it's like it's not like it's a Delphi case where it's like that guy. There's a very good chance he was innocent, you know, because there was like so many other things that in the you know, like Ron Logan and all that, right? But like with this, I just feel like there's like a bazillion% chance, and the only way would be if the police put something there. And obviously, like, you know, I know police can be corrupt, but like nowadays everybody has cameras and stuff. I mean, it's just there's just no way there would be no trace of showing that, you know? That's just for me. But I just wanted to, you know, I haven't called you guys in a while, so
Well, it's good to hear you. It's good to hear you're doing okay.
I'm doing all right. I just found out I had lung cancer, but I'll still be all right because it's early. So.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, I didn't want to put it like live out there, but like I love how you guys like pray for people and stuff. So, you know, I just found out, so it's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not like I'm not dying of cancer right now. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, don't die on us. We wish you the
yeah,
best.
right.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. So
yeah, do what the doctors tell you. That's the best
I just
thing.
quit smoking too.
That's good.
Cigarettes and weed. So
okay, good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, so I'm glad to talk to you guys. It's always uplifting. I'll talk to you another time.
All right, you be good.
You too. Thanks.
Peace.
Bye.
Can you turn the phones from coming on?
Okay, yeah. Let me turn them off.
Yeah, because they're just gonna keep ringing.
Okay. So, you know, the whole smoking thing, smoking cigarettes is really hard to do. And I encourage you guys, if you're a smoker out there.
Is that what you said? Quitting smoking?
Yeah, quitting smoking is hard.
You said smoking cigarettes is really hard to do.
Quitting smoking the herb ain't as hard. Like I've been 6 months now. Been 6 months since I've smoked. Still a little irritable sometimes, you know, especially when, you know, it used to help me relax a lot. But I haven't smoked a cigarette in years.
Yeah. I quit smoking when I was pregnant.
Yeah. So I encourage you guys out there that you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching at anybody because nobody's going to quit before they want to quit. But you don't want to get bad news when you quit. Like I got a lot of bad news. It's like you're having heart problems. You need to quit smoking. Then I quit smoking.
And sometimes people can't even do that after they've been given bad news,
my favorite uncle, my Uncle Buddy, was my favorite human being on this planet at the time. He was diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer. He actually would not quit smoking. I mean, he smoked he drank and smoked until they put him in the ground. He would be on oxygen, smoking, and caught himself on fire, smoking. That's how bad he would not quit. And he would tell me, like, you know, because I'd always be like, Uncle Buddy, you know, because he's my favorite uncle. I was like, why don't you quit smoking, man? Why don't you quit doing these things? And he just said he wasn't quitting. That was the joy he got out of life, and that he was ready to leave the world, and he didn't care. And that he was going to smoke and drink to his last dying breath. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
But it was so sad to watch him go, you know, deteriorate and slowly get worse and worse and not be able to breathe. Heartbreaking, right? But some people are just set in their ways that they're not going to do this. But you don't want to be that. You don't want to put yourself in that situation or do it until it's too late. And you do form some type of cancer or heart problem or whatever it may be. Yay for Dolly, celebrate. Yeah, so I haven't smoked a cigarette in years. I haven't smoked the herbs or spice or anything nice in a good 6 months. And if I can do it, anybody out there can do it. It takes a little bit of willpower, especially far as the cigarettes. The cigarettes were really hard. Cigarettes are super addictive.
Well, that's what your issue with the weed was too.
Yeah, it was
the tobacco.
The tobacco. Yeah, it was the tobacco and the. So even though I had quit smoking, I was still getting my nicotine through them cigars. And now that then when I cut it all off, but here's the thing: is I breathe better, I feel better. So, and I'm still alive, and that's the important thing. And I want to be here as long as I can with you guys. So, it's some things you just got to make the sacrifice and do. It sucks and it takes a little bit of joy away from life, but think about how joyful life is. You can lose a little bit of that joy, and it still be good. And that's how I look at things. So, let's jump in. Okay, let's do. You want to give a little. What's going on in the Maddie Soto case, Stephan Stearns?
Well, there's a lot of channels discussing whether or not Maddie thought she was in a relationship.
I believe she did.
And then
she was in a relationship with him.
Pregnancy rumors still out there, which we got a lot of shit from saying that from the very beginning.
In the beginning we did, but now people are like, Dolly was right.
Yeah,
that Dolly was right. I was just early in the game saying it because now they had the missing pregnancy test. She didn't know if, why would you have those pregnancy tests if you wasn't sleeping with him?
Yeah.
Because she says she wasn't even sleeping with him.
She did.
And she's not sleeping with him, but she's sending him to go sleep with the daughter, right? And she had to have known something was going on. She was worried about the Woody Allen effect of her brother running off with her boyfriend. So she suspected something was going on. This lady right here is an absolute monster. Jen Soto.
She handed her kid off on a platter to that man, I think.
Yes, she was keeping that man by using her daughter. Like, I don't even think he liked her. He just liked Maddie. And then, Maddie had this little crush that she had. And I think maybe jealousy or they thought she was pregnant is the reason he did away with Maddie. All right, let's jump into this video.
Videos, the text messages, the images, they're all documented forever. This has been an ongoing thing. And at her age, I think she probably thought they were in a relationship. She probably thought they were in love. At the same time, you guys are sleeping in the same bed together. You guys are all cohabitating. She's not sleeping in her room. But you felt the need to establish a rule that they couldn't sleep in the same room. But when you establish that rule, for 3 years, she's already been dating him, essentially.
He is referred to in many of the court documents as stepfather, mother's boyfriend. So unclear how she saw that relationship. It was on again, off again, and she had told her friends that he had moved out shortly before her death. But as far as how she felt about him, not completely clear, but all positive from what I can tell. Her friend said that she spoke well of him, all positive things, all good things. They never had any reason to think anything other than a positive family home. And they actually noted that they were constantly on the phone. So 13-year-olds love using their phone, and she would talk to friends and Stephan. And outside of her best friends, it was Stephan that was the number one person she was talking to, according to those friends.
Did she ever talk about having any boyfriend?
Okay, we're at 979 likes. I'm 20 likes away from getting to eat today. Awesome. If you just tuning in, guys, make sure you smash that like button. When I get to 1,000 likes, PJ will let me eat. I haven't eaten nothing in 3 days. Okay, I've been starving. She's like, if you don't get 1,000 likes on YouTube, you don't get to eat. What we've seen in this whole Stephan Stearns case and Maddie Soto is just disgusting. It's the worst of the worst.
Disgusting.
Because who did this little girl have to turn to but her mother? And if you can't turn to your mother and your mother's just handing you to a monster so she can keep him around so she's not alone, because it wasn't a sexual relationship. It just seems like she didn't want to be by herself and she was willing to hand over her daughter for sex for this man to stay in her life.
We got 1,000.
We got yes. You guys are great. I get to eat tonight. Dolly likes food.
I have to go stare that.
But so what do you think about the whole Jen thing?
I don't understand why she's got immunity. I don't think they need her to speak as a witness. I don't need.
Here, since I got 1,000 likes, I'll stir the food.
Okay,
You hold
bring
it.
me a drink.
You hold it down.
Okay.
Take my seat.
All right. This chair makes me feel like I'm freaking folded in half. Okay. My space bun piggies are all messed up from the freaking. All right. He was always going to eat, guys. I'm not going to keep him from eating. He lies. Those monsters look for women like Jen. See, I agree, but I don't. It's like she talks a lot about how she wasn't sleeping with him and like they broke up, and then so why even bring him back? I don't know. It makes me mad. Let me turn this back on. Why do I keep doing that?
Or anything like that?
She had a crush.
Oh, no.
Boyfriends. Oh no, she did date a dude, but it wasn't last. Like he's weird. Everyone talks about him. He doesn't.
When was this?
It's like last year.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who she's dated since then. But I'm not huge when I see my friends with their relationship. But I know she had a crush on the dude. I remember my friends did tell me, like, she did talk about her friend, like her stepdad. But it was only, like, good things. It was never, oh, I don't want to go home or anything, or, like, anything like that. It was always compliments for her stepdad. And as someone with a stepdad, I never thought anything of it.
How does a 13-year-old interpret 4 years at least, it could be more than 4 years, of ongoing sexual abuse, yet you have like this saying good things and on the phone with him and referring to him as stepdad? What do you think is going through her mind about what is this relationship?
Well, Vinny, when there are victims of sexual abuse who are minors, there's usually a grooming process that happens. And I have no doubt that that's probably the case with Madeline Solo. So when we think about this, we're looking at like the abusers. They have this systematic way to desensitize the victims through gradual boundary violations, right? So, and they can often frame the abuse as special relationship or love and start using some of these types of words to Madeline. And he could potentially have given her gifts and gave her special attention, which can create confusion about the nature of their interaction. So when we're thinking about the abuser, Stephan, there's manipulation tactics that he's probably used. In these cases, right, sometimes they can say you're mature for your age, and they can use words like us against the world. And he can also probably have used guilt or to maintain secrecy. So he can have normalized his inappropriate behaviors that were gradual over time. And we think about her developmental stage, minors, they don't have the full emotional and cognitive maturity to understand healthy relationships or to even recognize manipulation, right? Because their brain is still developing. So we're looking at all of these dynamics. But there's also something that was probably key when we're thinking about her looking at him or reported that good comments and these types of things, potentially looking at him as a relationship, is there's a power dynamic, right? So when we look at trauma bonding in particular, the abuser can create this environment where they can isolate, where he isolated her and he became the primary source of her emotional connection, especially if mom was away. So we'll see the alternation between abuse and affection, which creates this very strong psychological bond. So could she, in her mind, also been able to protect herself to cope with the trauma and think that there was a relationship? Absolutely. We see this all the time in these dynamics.
Okay. So the music in the background is on Vinny's video. This video is from Vinny Pelton's YouTube channel. And I guess he likes the elevator music. That's why you're hearing music. But this apparently is an expert, and she's talking about the possibilities of how the child, Madeline, could have interpreted their relationship. And I don't know. It's like we never really get to know the full 100% on what the little girl was feeling. Like, I don't.
Well, I think Maddie thought she was pregnant too because she was.
That's what I was actually getting ready to say. The conversations that they unveiled between her and Stephan, where basically it sounded like Madeline was looking to buy them coins that you get for when you have a child and your new parents, and you have to flip the coin to see who gets to do the
change the
responsibilities.
diapers or make the
like,
bottle. Yeah.
some people were trying to say that might have been Jen talking with him, but it was Maddie's cell phone. And it was like 2 a.m. It was like in the morning. I don't remember exactly what time, but like early in the morning, one morning. And so if that was in fact Madeline and her talking with Stephan that way about some soon to be expectant parent coin or whatever, clearly she thought she was in something with the man. I mean,
and remember how much hell people gave me when I said something about I think she might have been pregnant.
Oh my God. You were like one of the worst person described in the internet due to like speculation, and people were calling in and talk. Like, I think you got a lot of help for like some of the conversations you had with callers, but I mean, everybody has their right and their opinion.
I mean, there's a reason he did what he did. And I believe that reason is either two things. He was jealous of the boy she had a crush on, or he thought she was pregnant and it was all about to come to an end.
Right.
And I think that's the reason, his motive for unaliving. Because if he had unalived her in all these years and he was doing the big M tour, why would all of a sudden he do it? Something changed.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just a matter of finding out what that change was for him to act on it.
Yeah. I always go back to what he said when he was talking.
She tracked her period. Jen did.
Yeah.
So she knew her daughter was sleeping with people.
Like, why would you? I have a 13-year-old, and I try to keep track kind of, but not like that, because just so that I can make sure she's got the proper supplies she needs every month, but not like I couldn't tell you the day of the month I couldn't even tell you. No, I'll take that back. I don't track it all. I just make sure I ask her every now and then if she's got her right supplies she needs. But that's about it. So it was always weird to me how she said she was tracking her menstrual cycles. Like, why would you do that? It's weird. But I can totally see where she might have thought she was in a relationship. But I had thought that she had one of her friends from school, or one of her friends had said that she was happy that he was gone. Like when he moved out or whatever, that she was relieved or she was happy that he was gone.
I don't know. I think the same thing they're talking about. I think she believed she was in a relationship with this man.
Yeah. This is so gross.
Have you ever met this guy? Her mom with her.
I went over to her house like once or twice and visit.
It's like,
I met him in person.
What is it called? Stockholm syndrome, where you start to like your attacker?
Yeah. That's exactly. This is really hard to hear for some reason, but this sounds like an interview with one of the little kids that she was friends with. So it's really hard to hear.
Did she ever talk about him?
I knew she was on call with him a lot, and I knew that she had told me that he'd moved out of like the house. Mm-hmm. And one day I had asked to hang out with her. And we'd made plans like a week or two before. Mm-hmm. And then the day of, I wake up to a text message and it was like, hey, I can't, my stepfather's coming, and we're going to hang out together for the day.
Okay. Did she seem like she had a good relationship?
Somebody said, if Maddie was pregnant, wouldn't he get 2 murder charges? No, because in Florida, if the baby can't live outside the womb, it's not considered a life. So it's not another murder charge. If the baby was old enough to live outside the womb, then yes, it would be. But so we don't really know if she was pregnant or not. I'm just stating that I think Stephan thought she was pregnant, and so did Jen Soto.
Yeah.
And maybe Maddie did too, thought she was pregnant.
I mean,
not that she was, but they thought she was.
Relationship with him?
Yeah, they seem pretty tight. They seem really close.
Okay. Did she ever mention anything that may have been weird to you about him or mom?
Other than that they were like really close and that they were like always on call.
Well, when children are intuitive and they can know when something is off, so that's what I'm hearing when I'm hearing the conversation from her friends. You know, and I also think about potentially the him exploiting her normal developmental needs, right? So if mom was away and working or tired or whatever the potential situation was with her, then, it's natural for a teenager or a preteen to have this desire for acceptance and belonging. And it's also natural for them to want us as adults to approve and validate. So then mom.
Now, somebody asked, do you think we'll see this go to trial?
It's going to trial.
Yes, because I don't think the state is going to offer him no deal.
He's got 2 sets of trials.
I know, but what I'm saying is, say they offered him life without,
Don't write names of medications in the chat, please.
Say they offer him, life without parole. He should take it, right? He should take that because that's the best deal he could get. And if they haven't, they're not offering that, I don't think. So he will have to go to trial.
From the it's on Plunder from today or yesterday, I think, and that was one of the other videos. But it only had parts of this, and then it had some other case, so I didn't want to use it. But apparently, his lawyers from the case for the C-SPAN, they are trying to say that he handed over his data on his phone, and when he was asked if he was, because the lady's like, well, can I access your phone? Is that okay? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, so you give me permission to go into your Google Drive? And he said, yeah. And then she's like, I need your password. And it's like, it seemed like he hesitated, but I guess he gave it to her. So the lawyers are trying to argue that that was violation of his rights somehow.
No.
And it wasn't. I mean, there's no way it was. But that's what we get every time we've got defendants. The defense tries to pull at every little tiny string there to try and get some kind of loophole. But I don't remember why I was telling you all that. Never mind.
I think it will go to trial.
It's going to go to trial for sure. And he's got 2 sets of trials. One for the massive amount of nasty stuff on his phone and one for the unaliving of the poor girl.
Because they're not offering him no deals. Now, if they were offering him a deal, he wouldn't have to take it to trial.
Well, apparently he's scared of the DP, so.
He would take it. If I was him, I'd take it too, because any other way, you're going to die. They're giving him the death penalty.
Yeah. Because I think he gets it for both. He could get it for both.
That's why they're not arresting Jen, is because Jen is going to be the one that testifies against him. That's why they made a deal with her.
But she's not needed. They have everything they need against him.
I know. I said the same thing.
So they don't need her to testify. She's the one that handed her daughter over on a silver platter. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
They're doing.
He will get life without parole. He needs to get the DP. And he's eligible for DP for both charges, isn't he?
No. Just a murder.
Why does the other one not get?
Because of how the law fell into place.
I thought something about the I don't know why I thought it did. Okay. This piano elevator
life
music.
without parole for that. But
He'll definitely get that.
In the murder charge, he faces the death penalty. And they're more worried about the death penalty than anything. They want him executed.
She was under 14. Yes. I thought that's what made it more severe. But I don't know. Okay. The piano music in the background makes me sleepy.
Mom has this boyfriend that's in and out of the home who's taking care of Madeline, who's helping with the needs and these types of things. And we also know at this age there's a natural emerging, a natural emerging interest in romantic.
And let's take calls and let's ask the viewers, do they think Maddie thought he was in a relationship? Because that's what we're talking about anyway.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. So let's hear it from our viewers. Do you guys think Maddie thought she was in a relationship?
I think she did. Because she's at that age where she's just developing those
Open
types
the phone
of
line and put the number on the screen.
She's just
You gotta go to banners.
right.
Over to the right. Right there's the phone number. Up right there.
Hey, this is PJ. Who is this and where are you calling from?
Hey, PJ. This is Nona from California.
Hey, Nona.
Hi. I absolutely believe poor Maddie thought she was in a relationship. She was young. This was one of her first feelings, first boyfriends at all in her mind.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's very sad.
He played her like a fiddle.
Yeah,
And
he
she
gave
did
her
not have
he
any
gave her all them
kids.
Tamagotchi toys and like probably. Oh my God, it's sickening to think about.
Yes, he actually played toys with her. How bad can it get?
And then she was calling him every time her mom made her mad or something. She'd be on the phone with him, telling him about her mom and what she did or whatever. So he was like,
and he would take her phone and make her do
God.
sexual favors to get her phone back.
Ugh.
That's the creepiest of all. But I think her little girlfriends were starting to pick up on the oddness of her and her stepfather's relationship, you know?
I mean, they said that she was always on the phone with him and that those couple of interviews we heard, I listened to the interviews from before, and it's like I didn't really necessarily feel like they were catching on to it. They just always said that she was always on the phone with them all the time. And I mean, I guess that would be them kind of catching on to it, because I would think that was weird. If my kid was on the phone with you all the time, I would think that was weird as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And you would notice that. The Jen didn't is amazing.
I know she did,
didn't.
because with Jenna, I feel like she's just willingly ignoring things that she knows as fact and can live with that, I guess, just in ignorance, like purposefully.
How else can she live with herself? You know?
Lots of substances. I don't know.
She's a lot of denial going on there.
Yeah. But if you're in denial like that, does that mean that you truly didn't know or that you don't know? Because I mean, deep down.
No, I think you do deep down.
Yeah.
Deep down, a mother knows. She was just so lonely and such a sad person that she ignored it. I really feel that.
That's crazy.
She put it out of her mind, put it to the side, and just went on. The comment about Woody Allen proves that.
I can't believe she said that out loud. Right.
Gave herself away right there.
Right. How does she not know that wouldn't be a good thing to say? Like, why would she say that out in public to anybody? The Woody Allen.
She doesn't think.
Bad.
Like, I wouldn't even think to say that.
She knew.
Right.
Yeah, she knew deep down or for real. I mean, consciously, she knew somehow. No.
Well, thank you.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Again soon. Bye.
Take care.
Hey, this is PJ and Dolly. Who are you and where are you calling from? Hello?
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 Oh, I did. I was waiting to hear Dolly. Okay, hey, PJ. It's Sunshine and Shadow.
Hey, Sunshine and Shadows. What do you got to say?
I definitely think that Maddie thought she was in a relationship based on the new information that y'all shared today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these messages and stuff that's been uncovered. I definitely think she thought something was more than it should have been. But I also have another theory.
And I think I agree with you for the most part, but what just caught my attention while we were listening to this was the fact that her friend says she referred to her stepdad as a stepdad, which he wasn't a stepdad. And then, like, the last convo that we heard, the girl was like, she was supposed to hang out with her or something. And she was like, no, I can't. I'm my stepdad's coming over today. And, like, if she was, in fact, in this fictitious relationship, she thought of the guy still as her stepfather.
Well, the thing is, he could have been manipulating that. He could have told her, like, hey, you know, if you tell anybody about us, they'll take you away and I'll never see you again.
Oh, yeah. No, I have no doubt that he was doing that. I'm certain he was doing that.
I mean, so that's probably why she had to play off like, yeah, he's the perfect stepdad, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So what's your theory?
Theory is about Jen. First of all, I'm starting to doubt that he actually unalived Maddie. I think Jen did it.
Really?
Yeah, I think Jen did it.
I know I saw a few different people have that theory, but wouldn't they have her in custody then? I mean, it should be easy to prove that if she's the one that actually did it.
I don't know, because he's covered it up. And if he covered it up well enough to take the blame, I mean, maybe he actually does love Jen in some sense. He would take this blame for her, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like if she was not sleeping in the bed with him, they weren't doing anything sexual.
Right. She had said that they weren't sexual for months. How long did she? I think she said a certain time, but I don't remember. She said they hadn't been sleeping with each other for a while. Which
I'm just
Sex
wondering, like,
was vanilla, she said.
sex with him with vanilla doesn't mean they weren't sleeping together. But like the fact that she used that term, it's just like, oh my God, that's like, I don't know. But she wasn't sleeping with him. So it's like, who did she think he was sleeping with? Did she really just think
She
he was
knew.
abstinent?
She
Like,
knew. There ain't nobody in the world that dumb.
wow. But I was thinking maybe she couldn't have a baby but wanted another baby maybe, and used Maddie to get it, or tried to, and then when it didn't work, maybe. But then my other thing is too, Dolly was saying, why would he all of a sudden unalive her? Now, if he is the one that unalived her, she could have aged out for him.
yeah.
And I mean, because it was all right after her 13th birthday, I'm thinking she aged out for him.
Yeah, or I mean, she could have threatened to want to tell. That's what I always thought. Like she was getting to a point where she was over it and was about to tell somebody.
But then again, we go into that baby coin, and it seems like they were.
Yeah, there's no other explanation for that baby coin thing at all.
I mean,
so like
with the baby coin, that's what throws me. Like that makes it seem like she's excited, like, oh, we're gonna have a baby, and that's where I think she was all in. Like, definitely was groomed. Like, she didn't realize this was wrong.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's a kid. She shouldn't have to have that as a part of her life, no matter what. Like, it's just sick. I'm still so mad they're not putting Jen's feet to the fire. Clearly she knew, even if she told herself it wasn't true. In the back of her mind, she knew. So to me, that's like, you know.
Definitely. And with these phone conversations and these text messages and stuff, I'm like you, PJ. We don't need Jen. We can hang him without her.
There's more than enough evidence there to just hang him without her help. She should be in trouble just for the fact that, to me, it's like she served her kid on a silver platter to this point. And everybody's like, well, maybe he looked for women like her, like, she's poor, innocent, like he knew how to manipulate her. She seems like a manipulator herself. Also, not that he's not. I mean, they both seem like they're not great people.
I listened to the dad. He did an interview or whatever, and he was talking about how when Maddie was little in his relationship with Jen, and it definitely sounds like Jen is manipulative too. That he left her.
Yep, I caught that too.
So yeah, I definitely agree there, but I still think Stephan targets people like her. I think people that, I mean, she clearly has no self-confidence. I mean, she feels like she needs a man around, and then she's got this sweet little girl that is actually what he wants. He don't want her.
Yeah.
And he just manipulated his way into Maddie's life. And either way it goes, I feel like she should at the least, be charged with accessory, because like you said, she served that child up on a silver and gold lined platter.
I agree. He wouldn't have had any access to her if it wasn't for the mother. And he was gone at that point there at the end. He wasn't even with her. He wasn't living there. He had moved away. And so to allow him to come back and have one last night or whatever it is they were doing, I mean, it's just, she should have known better, period.
I can't understand how she let him have such easy access to him, because me and my fiance was together over a year before he ever even spoke to my nieces, let alone my child.
Yeah, I waited a long time too. Same. And I mean, it's just not even something that I could even imagine. Like, how do you, like, I don't know. It's just weird. Some people just are so different that it's hard to imagine. I can't see any circumstance where I would be like, oh, hey, boyfriend, go hang out with my kid for a while. I'm busy. Like, what?
There was a guy that my best friend met on Facebook dating, and I was thinking as soon as she told me about this guy, I thought about Stephan Stearns and how he probably targeted Maddie's mom. Because this guy, like, within an hour of the conversation, he was asking, do you have kids? How old are they? Oh, we come out with us. Like, wait, what? No.
Yeah, no. Just no. But
So, yeah.
well, thanks for calling. It was great talking to you.
Bye, PJ. Bye, darling.
Talk again soon. Bye. I'm not very good at ending calls, and there was calls coming through this whole time. All right. Hey, this is PJ. Who is this, and where are you calling from?
Hey, PJ. This is Sammy from Oklahoma.
Hey, Sammy.
I want to tell you, I love it when you're up there with Dolly.
Thank you.
You make me laugh so much. And don't worry about everybody else. Us turtles got your back.
Thank
we'll
you.
take care of them. Secondly, I'm a mom of 3 girls.
Okay.
I had 1 daughter and 1 son when I met my husband after I divorced their dad. I was worried. My mom told me, hey, you watch every man with your baby, your girl. And I said, all right. I had 2 more girls with him. He's got 12 siblings. 7 of them are men. I watched everybody. Girl, I would not let my kids outside. I didn't track the girls' periods. That's not my business. I knew my girls wasn't sleeping with anybody.
Right.
Secondly, Jen knows everything. I knew everything of my 4 kids. They're grown now. But I didn't ask them. They came and told me.
Yeah.
Things. And I'm like, Jen knew. I would never, my husband would never ask his daughters, even now they're grown, to lay in the bed with him even.
Yeah, no.
No. They come and lay with me because I'm mom. Dad, that's off limits. That's weird.
Yeah, it's
to any
definitely
girl,
weird.
that's weird.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was a daddy's girl. I love my daddy. I never slept with him, never seen him.
No, me neither.
Ever.
No.
Anything.
Weird,
I didn't even know. I hate to say this. I did not know men peed standing up when I got married the first time. And my ex-husband was sitting down. I'm like, what are you doing? Stand up. That's not how a man sleeps. I mean, using the bathroom. I was so naive, girl.
Yeah.
But now I'm
That's
not.
funny.
And I have 4 kids. And I tell my girls, you have kids, you watch every move.
Yeah.
Because there's somebody out there. It doesn't matter if you're in the neighborhood. Somebody is out there looking.
Yeah, that's very true.
So, all right. I wanted to say that. I love you, girl.
Well, thank you for calling. I appreciate you. We'll talk again soon.
You're welcome. Enjoy your stew tonight.
We will. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, this is PJ. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hello?
PJ?
Yes.
Hi, I can't believe I got through.
You got through. Who is this and where are you calling from?
I'm Regina. I'm calling from North Carolina.
Hey, Regina.
Hi. I just wanted to put my thoughts into Madeline and her circumstances.
Okay.
I think that baby, I call her a baby.
She was a baby.
Oh, absolutely. I think she emotionally got neglected for whatever reason. Maybe her mother had to work a lot and had issues. And then Stephan stepped in and gave her the attention that she was craving.
I can see that. I can see that happening. Mm-hmm.
And I think, in my opinion, he knew that, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah.
But it's such a sad situation. I raised 2 children by myself. The dad left. I tried to, I worked a lot of hours, but when I was off from work, all of my attention went to those kids, my children. But I was always very cautious. And I didn't let nobody in our world. It was like we lived kind of in a bubble, you might say.
They played in sports, but all my free time was surrounded by them.
Hold on, I'm going to type in on the Sebastian Rogers.
And
Okay.
but
Sorry.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
In Madeline's case.
I think you're right. There was something going on with her mom to where she wasn't emotionally available for her child, and he swooped in and took over and had that role. And yeah,
It's sad. It's sad. But PJ, I love you, and Dolly, I love your laugh.
I
My
can't help
God,
it
when
sometimes.
I hear you laugh, it's very contagious.
Well, thank you, and thanks for calling.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll talk again soon.
Thank you for taking it.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Okay, I'm gonna close the calls because I'm gonna let Dolly back into a seat, and he'll go into the Sebastian stuff he wants to discuss.
Time to talk to Sebastian Rogers. All right. I just stirred the food.
Okay.
And I turned my soap mix on.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna talk Sebastian for about 15 minutes and then
I want some of these.
wrap it up. Okay, guys, hold on. Let me get comfortable. Hold on, I got the wrong headphones on. Okay, that is a lot better. Okay, I don't know how PJ hears with them headphones on. Where's my mouse? Hold on. Okay, let me get this crazy looking guy off the screen because I want to touch in on the Sebastian Rogers case, and I don't want that weird perv on the screen while I'm doing that. All right. Because that dude is nasty. He deserves the death penalty, and hopefully we get that in the case. We're running a little behind on time because we're cooking dinner and I'm working on soaps and things like that today. So let's go into it just in case you live into a cave. February 26th of last year, a young man goes missing by the name of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Still missing. It's been a year, okay? It's been a year that he's been missing. A lot of people out there coming up with different theories of what could have happened to this young boy. From everything from he possibly ran away to his parents, may have handed him off to somebody, or even the worst, unalived him. But let me give my warnings. Dolly Vision's for entertainment purposes only. We talk news, rumors, gossip, speculation, theories mixed with a little bit of comedy and a whole lot of chaos. So don't take nothing here as fact, just my opinion. Now, there hasn't been no real big news in this case whatsoever. Okay, there's a lot of people, I believe myself, you may believe different, putting out misinformation. Enhanced light videos that don't add up to nothing but more than a Bigfoot video. Let's be honest. But some people are seeing Chris and Katie and all these different things. To me, it's like looking into the clouds. When you look into the clouds, you see a dragon or something. It's because your mind wants to see that, so it helps you see what you want to see. So we had, some people come out doing that, enhancing pictures, but they're not experts in enhancing photos. They're not experts in anything other than, just regular YouTubers, but they think they know more than the police, which is not the case, right? The police have really good equipment for enhancing photos and working on stuff like this. We've had everybody in the Sebastian Rogers case, from the TBI to the FBI to the Secret Service, working on this case. But for some reason, people out here on these YouTube streets think they're better than that. So a lot of these people with bad information went on to the Nancy Grace show. Aunt Nancy, right? Nancy put it out, and then when she realized that it was a bunch of bogus stuff, she pulled the show. Now, a lot of people said, Dolly, you're lying. Why are you picking on people? Whatever. This ain't about anybody. This is just about what's going on in the Sebastian Rogers case. And as you can see by now, people, Dolly was absolutely right. Okay. It wasn't, the show is still not aired. Okay. They've been taken down. It's been taken down off all platforms and never put back up. So was I wrong? No, Dolly was absolutely right. You know, somebody went up there and lied about who they were, how these images came about, and basically used this to blame the parents of being there without any proof of looking at a blob. Okay. Now listen, just like you guys, I think Chris and Katie are suspicious. I believe they hold the answers to what happened to Sebastian Rogers. But we don't have to look at blobs and create, you know, magical Puff the Magic Dragons and see things that are really not there. I do believe there's a few clues in this case. The lights are a clue. Them flashlights are a clue because Katie said that Sebastian left with a flashlight. Now, me myself, I don't think that's Sebastian with a flashlight. And it ain't that I disagree with these people, because I actually agree with them. I believe there were some lights behind the house, and this child was handed off to somebody. Now, who had those lights? I believe it was Katie that had the lights, and I believe the police have done their job and verified that Chris was out of town at work. Now, that don't mean that Chris didn't reach out to somebody that don't have no culpability in this. It just means he wasn't there on the scene at the time that this transpired, to me. Okay, that he could have called somebody to meet Katie and they handed Sebastian to that person. So we don't have to get out here and create things or spread false information on a case, because I think there's enough stuff out here that points the finger that way without doing that. Okay, without making up things or doing anything like that. It was made up so bad that Nancy had to pull the show. And for all you people that were giving me a hard time, Dolly, you don't know what you're talking about. It's edited. This is what this person said. Well, where are those people now? They got mad, deleted the channel because Dolly was telling absolutely the truth. Okay? That listen, you can't get up there and say this is an expert witness in enhancing photos, and this person's never, one, he's not telling the truth about the name. It's not, has no experience in enhancing photos or anything like this, and run this like this is some truth. Nancy could get sued for that, right? And Nancy realized what had happened and basically pulled that down. That don't mean, though, that they're wrong, okay? That they're wrong. I mean, they're wrong about it being Chris, of course, okay? But they're right that something transpired behind that house. I agree with these people on that. That ain't my argument, or never was my argument in this case. My argument was, you're looking at a blob, okay? And making out a car and people that it, some people said it looked like a damn mailbox, okay? Nancy never pulled a show. Where's the show, right? She pulled the podcast, which is her show. Okay, a podcast is considered a show. She pulled the podcast. Not only did she pull the podcast, but she had posted that she was going to air the show. And then she took her Facebook post down. So she took down everything that had to do with that interview. So, which was very strange. But and the important thing about this is we want Nancy talking about Sebastian Rogers, because the biggest thing that we can do for this kid on YouTube is bring awareness to his case. But we got to bring truthful awareness to it. Okay. We can't just, I seen Bigfoot and bring that in a story. We need it to be somewhat truthful. You know, mistakes get made. People do things that are wrong, but it needs to be, based in some type of factual information. I believe the proof is in the pudding. Their behavior is critical in this case, right? How they're acting. No innocent people in the world act like this. Now, if they do, I've said this before, they are the most guilty acting innocent people I have ever seen. Chris and Katie. Right now, I've truly believed this whole time the same thing as a lot of these people that were looking at this blob. That behind all this, Chris and Katie know more than they're saying they may know where this boy is at. Now, alive or unalive, I believe that the family holds the answers to Sebastian Rogers. And I truly do. And, you know, it's been a year now. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Which is scary. Okay, that's really scary because they've searched pretty good. Dolly's been out there searching. Terry Lynn's been out there searching. Silver on the Scene's been out there. Crabtree's been out there. Damn Clue and Cleet has been out there. There's been a lot of YouTubers out there searching along with the search parties from the police that initially searched for Sebastian Rogers. The boy has to be somewhere out there. Okay. He has to be somewhere out there. And look, somebody says the fighting and sides are ridiculous. It is. Okay. Now, I'm not fighting with any of these people out here, right? Because I want Sebastian found, and I don't care who finds. I don't care what side finds him. I don't care who finds him. I just want him found, right? And I don't like a lot of the misinformation out there, right? Because I think it hinders the case a little bit. You know, for everything that people are calling into the TBI, they have to check these things out. And if they're not legitimate, then it's a waste of their time and their efforts. Where them efforts could be put somewhere else that could help bring this boy home. Seth is about to do an interview tomorrow night. And of course, we'll review that interview after it's done. He's going on to a YouTube channel. I don't know if they're going to go on this YouTube channel and they're going to talk about this, you know, basically what I call the Bigfoot picture. But I noticed in the Nancy interview that Seth never said nothing about this photo, because I don't even know if Seth is like on that same page. Now, these pictures did come from some people that were on what they called a green team, right? Which is effed up because it should be Sebastian's army or Sebastian's team. It shouldn't be a green team, and Jailhouse Orange is what I call the other team. Okay. Because, you know, jumpsuit orange, green team, orange team. Well, I stay in the middle of just Team Sebastian because it shouldn't be any of that. People should be wanting this boy found and not teaming up with sides to whatever fits your narrative. Oh, it's them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that is the case. I think the biggest thing in this is bring Sebastian home. Green team was army to me. I don't follow this whole team thing. Okay. I don't follow it. Just don't even compute in my brain. All right. Of this, where you get a bunch of bad people and they join a good guy, right? Because I think Seth's a good guy. I think he made some bad judgment calls, picking some of the people around him and allowed some of the wrong people around him. But all in all, I think Seth is a good guy. So that's why I don't support the green team. It's not that I don't want Seth to find his son. It's just I don't like some of the people, the fraudsters and the fake ass people that are on the green team. And of course, you know, I suspect Chris and Katie, so I can't support their team. So I don't have a team to support. I support Sebastian Rogers and him being brought home. And we need any information we can get on this case. Right now, this case is getting cold. You know, the police say it's still an active investigation, which I'm glad that is the case. You know, maybe they're still checking some of these leads. And, you know, we've heard a lot of people promise false hope, you know, that they're going to be kicking in doors and making arrests and citizens arrests and they're coming for you. You know, we've heard that, but have we seen that? No, we haven't. Okay. Unless y'all seen something I didn't. I think green team is because it's Sebastian's favorite color. Yes, absolutely. I get why they call it the green team. It's just, it shouldn't be the green team. It should be everybody on Sebastian's army. They have their own little things going on. right? Like, I can't get behind some fake people. I just can't. Not that Seth's fake, but he allowed a lot of fake people around him. And I just can't support that. I just can't. I can't do it. But I do support the return of Sebastian Rogers to Seth, right? But, you know, I don't know if they're going to come up here tomorrow and hopefully Seth clears up some of the misinformation, okay? And instead of allowing these people to do it, like I said, on Nancy, Seth didn't speak about the pictures that they enhanced, right? He didn't even talk about it. Neither did Tony. And I think that's probably the best thing, right? Now, listen, if this boy has ran away, you know, we got to be fair across the board. Now, I don't think he's ran away, right? I truly think something's happened to him, and I believe it's foul play. And just in my honest opinion, I believe we're looking for remains when I'm out there searching, myself. I don't think Sebastian's out there living his best life, or he's in a home or anything like that. I have two scenarios. He was hurt and they took him out of that home, or he ran away from that home and he got hurt. Them are just the two scenarios that I play out in my mind. And you see people come out the woodwork to attach themselves to Seth for what I believe to be clout and profit. Now, Chris and Katie over there, I don't trust nothing they say. Their behavior is odd. There's no explaining ever to me why you would pack up and leave your kid and just go on a trip, right? Just leave. I just, and then, we learn to find out that, they're telling us how much they miss Sebastian and all these things, but come to find out, he was a behavioral problem to these people, and they wanted to put him in a home. So now we know, 10 months later, we found out that they didn't want Sebastian. Chris and Katie didn't want him. I don't even think Chris liked him, and he was beating on Sebastian, which wasn't even his kid. I'm just hoping something turns up, because slowly everything seems to be drying up. Less and less people are talking about Sebastian. Less and less people are sharing his image. And it's only been a year. But listen, they did the same thing in the Summer Wells case. I seen an army of people out here screaming they would be beside Summer Wells to the very end, and they're gone. They vanished. They're not even here. They don't even care. Sebastian came into the picture and they never talked about Summer ever again. And right there, it shows me how fake some of these so-called child advocates are. Now, I never claimed to be a child advocate. I'm just a normal dude, a parent that wants to help. I came into YouTube to try to help people get answers for people that didn't have a voice, to be a little bit of a voice for the voiceless. And we've done this for 3 years. So, and we're going to continue as long as we can to try to give a voice to these people that don't have a voice. But it's important that people to continue to share this boy's photo. So many people believe that Chris and Katie are responsible, that they've given up on sharing who the kid is or his story. Right? They just given up. And that hurts your heart. And to see Nancy not talk about it because people came up with some BS when Nancy has a huge platform. We need Nancy. Okay? We need Nancy Grace talking about this story. We need Vinny talking about this story. We need major news outlets talking about this story. So to see a newscast get pulled from Nancy and not be able to use, it pisses me off. Okay, it really does, because listen, hundreds of thousands of people listen to Nancy Grace. And now that story don't get out there to all them people that may have not heard about Sebastian. In true crime, we think everybody knows who Sebastian is, right? Because you watch these videos. But that only gets out to a small handful of people. These big channels are super important. So when we go to these big channels with stories, they need to be credible stories that are backed up in fact. Right? Not just let's look at a blur and say it's Chris. We can't do that. Sebastian deserves better than that. Okay? To me, he does. Now, this is just my opinion. I'll tell you, people, this is just, you don't have to agree with my opinion whatsoever, but this is just my opinion on the situation at hand. Seth, I hope he takes the reins back and he does the right things and he starts to get back out there and search for this boy. I don't know who's in his ear, right? I don't know who he's listening to. But if you don't go look for this boy, nobody's going to find this child. There needs to be some organized searches put together. Even if he begs the police to go out and search again for the third time. You know, it's been a year. Get out in those woods, get the four-wheelers. Let's get back out there and search. I mean, I don't know exactly what needs to be done. But this circle of bullshit that's been going around right now is not working. It hasn't brought Sebastian home. So whatever's being done right now on the internet and with Seth and with Chris and Katie, it's not working. I think we can all agree on that. That what is going on right now is not working to bring this boy home. So something needs to change. 49er girl made it 1 year. Hell yeah. So if we continue to do the same things, expect different results. That is the definition of insanity. It's not going to happen. We have to change something up. Something has to change to bring the results that we want. And I know what the results we want are. We want Sebastian Rogers home. Now, the family, they can work out that if, you know, whatever it may be, right? But everybody wants this boy home. Just don't know how to do it, right? And I'm a strong believer in the fundamentals. The fundamentals. Spread awareness, share his pictures, and search. That needs to be what happens. Not the fighting between YouTubers and the pissing contests and all that. It's just to bring that awareness is what YouTubers are good for. Bring awareness and organize searches. I pray to the Lord Jesus that Seth will be that voice and the leader of these organized searches. I have for 11 months, 12 months. That's the only reason I ever give Seth as a hard time is because I feel like he should be out there helping set up these searches. That's it. The only thing. Even though the people around him are like, some of them are scumbags, I don't even give him really a hard time about that, you know. But I do want him to hear this. Please organize some searches for this child. That's it. That's the only thing I've wanted in the last year is for this boy to be found. And I believe if you do not look, he will not be found. So what do? We're getting to a point where it's getting really sad, right? Really sad in the Sebastian Rogers case. And people will forget about a child so quickly. I noticed, I've seen it. In 3 years, I've watched kids be forgot like that. And I don't want to see this happen to another kid. I think Seth, if he does the right thing, like he was doing in the beginning of this, and he would have continued down that path that he was going, he was on the right path. Somewhere along the way, I think he lost sight of the most important thing. And that's being out there, being the voice for Sebastian and searching for his child. That's why everybody fell in love with Seth in the very beginning. That's why I supported him as long as I did. Is because of that. Because I knew I would do the same thing. I'd be out there fighting for my child. I'd be out there searching every day and setting up these search parties. Now, I know Seth has had some injuries, disabled, workman's comp type stuff going on. And I understand he may not be able to get out there in these woods and do what needs to be done, but all he has to do is be the voice for Sebastian. And I think when he handed over that to, like, let's just say TikTok and Betty and Dog and all these people, Sebastian was lost in the sauce. But it didn't have the same effect as it did just a broken-hearted daddy out there searching for their child. That won everybody over. Everybody. Anybody with a heart felt bad for Seth and wanted to help. He has to remember that. He has to remember that, and just to go to the fundamentals, spread awareness, get out there and search for your child. I hope he hears this. I hope he thinks in the back of his mind, you know what, man, Dolly's a fucking idiot, but he's right. And be that voice. Get the searching back going for this child. He ain't going to be found any other way, you know. And I just pray to God that Sebastian's still with us. But let's just be honest, guys. Every day that goes by, the chances of that being true get slimmer and slimmer. So keep fighting for this child. Don't give up. Because like I said, I've seen this happen before. And people don't be looking. They stop caring. They start worrying about the next kid that's missing. Look at Summer Wells. You go down to the hollers, and I've been there. There ain't many people like there was. Where's Summer's army? There's a few people left. You know, there's maybe a couple little generals still floating around in Summer's army. But so quickly, so many people left their sides. And now 2 different cases, 2 different situations, definitely. Okay, they're similar, but different. Summer don't really have that voice. Seth, you're out there. Don Wells is, you know, we can't compare Don Wells to Seth. They're 2 different people. Don Wells is a little bit more of what he is, and Seth is who he is. And Seth can be a voice for Sebastian, a powerful voice. He's done showed that. He showed that to the people. And I'm wishing him luck on his interview tomorrow on the YouTube channel. Get out there and be a powerful voice for your son. You were Sebastian's voice, no matter what. Okay? I know you got all these people around you that tell you when you can and can't talk. But the hell with them. Okay? Nobody wants your son back more than you do. Be that voice. Be that person. Do what you got to do. And if anything, just stick. It's just like fighting. Stick to the fundamentals. What got you to the dance? Okay? And that is being a caring, loving person that was out there searching for your son. And if you continue to do that, and you got back to that, everybody would rally behind you. And that's what I wanted to leave you guys with tonight. You guys be good. You stay safe. I will be back tonight on YouTube for Turtle Island on my other channel, Dolly Uncensored. If you're thinking, Dolly, what the hell is Turtle Island? It's a little game show we do where we put 35 creators on the back of a fantasy turtle and we vote them off one by one. Okay, so 9:45 tonight, we will be doing that show. It's been crazy lately. Okay, crazy show, but it's fun. So if you ain't had it, it's not true crime. It's just more, you know, voting for your favorite YouTubers. Stop by, hang out with us. Channel is Dolly Uncensored. It's called Turtle Island. So I got, you know, some merch to make tonight. I got new shirts out. I'm working on soaps tonight, lotions, things like that before the show. And I got to eat dinner. Continue to share Sebastian's story. Continue to share his image. Let's do our part. And let's pray to God that Seth does his part. All right? You guys be good. Dolly loves you. Peace.